Pandora's box is about to open wide.
Welcome yet again to Pandora's Box, ladies and gentlemen. We've got another special guest in the studio today, but this one is very well known to all three of us. Drewster the Gold, his first time as a guest on Pandora's Box. Obviously, being on Dark Dale probably about 5 or 6 times, I'd say.
I reckon about that, yeah.
Yeah, but first time ever on Pandora's Box. And I don't know why we haven't really done a Pandora's Box with you sooner, man, because obviously,
saving me.
As fun as it is to do the Dark Dell, and as much as we love, obviously, rock and metal and stuff, obviously you're limited on the Dark Dell, aren't you? Because we can't just sort of go off talking about
every time
stuff.
we do the Dark Dell, we've got to like cut songs out.
Yeah.
And then
run
cut
out
and
of
then
time.
Yeah, we run out of time.
speaking.
Obviously, Dark Dell is primarily a music show, so we want to keep it like a lot of music. We don't have that limitation with this show. And also, obviously, if we talked about stuff that wasn't relevant to rock and metal, then it would be a bit rubbish for a rock and metal show.
Yeah.
Whereas, obviously, there are many feathers in thine cap. No, not mine, yours.
In thine.
And in all of our caps,
Yes.
baby. So, it's just nice to talk about all sorts of stuff, isn't it, really?
Yeah, man, it's really weird. Like, although obviously I know you all very well, and I've been on the Dell, it's really weird to be in the box.
Yeah.
Be in the box. You're
So
now
after so-
in the box.
I am in man in the
Does
box.
it look like a mini bum?
Boom, boom.
Drew wants to know, does it look like a mini bum?
I am now
I
the
still wanna
box.
know. And I
Yeah.
still think it does, by the way.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it does a little bit.
Sometimes.
Yeah, it does a
Yeah,
little
man.
bit.
Yeah, it's really weird to be like looking in for so long,
Mm.
and now be sat here.
Now you're actually in the
immersed.
Yeah, man.
Immersed in the box.
Finally immersed. Yeah, so for people that don't know who Drewster the Gold is, Josh is a musician / artist / photographer / tree surgeon from Bridgewater, Somerset. Look at his face. He's like, oh, don't say all those things about me. It's true, though, man. It's true. You are all of those things. Notably, to Bullwinkle, Bullwinkle's oldest brother.
Me, hello. I don't know if
He
you
is.
can see
Bullwinkle is here, everyone. So
Hello. Hello, everyone.
People on the radio would just, they
Yes.
don't know that you're not here anyway. But to people that are watching on Spotify or YouTube, Bullwinkle is here, but he's without a camera today. Maybe you can share Josh's.
Yes,
Share in spirit.
I'll find a way to
That
shuffle
can be,
my way
that can
into
be
the show.
Brocam. That can be Brocam.
Brocam.
Broken.
So Nathaniel Bullwinkle, as he's better known, was born when we were 13.
Yes.
13, so he's 13 years our junior. Obviously, Drewster and myself have known each other since primary school because we both met up. We were put on the naughty table
Yep.
when we were 5, and we both had mask pencil tops. Anybody that was born in like 1990 or the 80s might remember that in cereal packets around the time you got free.
Goodies!
It was quite common back in those days.
Yeah,
Wasn't
like
that the thing?
Kellogg's sort of things.
Yeah,
you'd
you'd
have
have
a little
like
gift.
gifts.
I used to love that about cereal, yeah.
Me and Jake, like my other brother,
Fox.
used to like fight. Like, say, if my mum bought cereal,
I can imagine.
I'd have to like run into the cupboard when it was sealed and open it up and take it out first and then close it
I
back
could
up.
so imagine.
Make
that
sure you
happening.
got it.
Yeah.
I could literally so imagine that. But yeah, like that doesn't seem to be a thing anymore. That just goes to show the downfall of our civilization in itself,
Do
doesn't
you
it?
remember when they used to do Walker's crisps, but you could get like money in it? Do you
Money?
Do you remember,
What?
do you remember like you'd open up the packet of crisps, like a multi-pack of crisps, and
Was
then
it
there'd be
like
like a
Monopoly
little
money?
No, and there'd be like a little blue sachet, and then you'd rip the blue sachet, and there might be like a 5 or a 10 or a 20
That's
quid
insane,
in it.
isn't it?
Do you remember that?
Oh, I
That does ring a
remember
bell.
it, but I never got one.
Oh, did you know? I used to win like quite a little. I used to win like
Really?
Bob.
That's how you made it.
Yeah, Bob or
Paid
two.
for my first house.
I
Just went and
always
just bought another
remember-
packet of Walkers with it.
I always remember I
Yeah, I
wanted
did
to
that.
get that. I wanted to get that 5 or 10 or like.
It was a good feeling, especially
Yeah.
when you're like 11.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like nowadays in our society, like everything costs so much money, and there's always like that you never feel like you're truly rewarded.
No.
But so the 90s was peak, and the early
Peak
noughties,
reward.
I think, was peak civilization.
Yeah.
It was the perfect mix of good enough technology to make your
Yeah.
life really good,
Yeah.
but you got like freebies and cereal and
Yeah.
Walker's crisps
Exactly,
and stuff. Do you know what I mean? Which is what life's all about, really.
TV was like anarchic.
Yeah, yes,
You had
exactly.
like the big breakfast, and you had
Oh, yeah.
TFI
Mr.
Friday.
Blobby.
Mr. Blobby was
Oh,
the
Mr.
pure
Blobby.
anarchy.
Live and kicking.
Yeah, live and kicking.
Mr.
Oh.
Motivator.
Mr. Motivator.
Yeah, Mr. Motivator. All those like kick-ass cartoons from the 90s as well, like the Spider-Man and X-Men and the Hulk and Iron Man. Those were all so good.
Spice Girls.
Spice Girls, take that,
Spice
obviously.
Girls take that, yeah.
Also, obviously, Pokemon came out in the 90s.
Yeah.
I mean,
Dragon Ball Z.
Well,
Well, no,
Pokemon.
actually, Dragon Ball Z was 80s, wasn't it? Yeah.
But we
Was
were,
it?
we first
Yeah.
became, yeah.
Oh,
Dragon Ball
okay.
Z's like,
80s.
But it didn't come to
old
like
school.
into to the West really
Yeah.
until like the 90s.
It took a while to break into the West, a bit like Daenerys Targaryen.
Yeah, exactly,
She
yeah.
assembled her empire
Yeah.
in Essos before eventually coming west.
Yeah.
So yeah, they have that in common. Dragon Ball Z and Daenerys.
Yeah.
They
I
also-
finished Dragon Ball Super yesterday.
Did you?
Really?
I was watching all of it on BBC iPlayer. Go and watch it.
So where
Very
are you
good.
at? Where are you at?
Man, I literally finished it last night.
Can you remind? Without giving spoilers, what happened?
The Tournaments of Power came
finished?
to an end.
Oh yeah, I remember now.
Yes.
That's badass, man.
It was
Yeah,
bad. It
it
was
was
very badass.
Have you
man.
watched that as well, Josh?
Yeah, man.
Oh, you have.
Yeah, man.
So you know what happens.
Yep.
So Drew don't care.
No.
I've never got into like Dragon Ball Z
Yeah, yeah.
ever. Like it's always been one of those
So-
things that
yeah.
you guys have like really been into, and I've always been like, oh, that sounds cool.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Tournament Power was pretty cool, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Such
man.
a cool ending with like 17 and Frieza and Goku
Yeah.
finally overcoming Jiren.
The
Man,
best-
that Goku and Jiren fight is crazy. It's so good.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah,
The best part of Dragon Ball Z was when we went to the cinema together to watch it.
Oh, you got in the wrong seat.
Mate, he was in the wrong seat. Let's do this.
we went in,
Not
and
me.
Callum was like, "Right, I'm going to go to the toilet. You just go in,
Yeah.
like sit yourself down." And
Yeah.
I went in for some reason. I don't even know why I did it. I was just like, "I'm just going to sit anywhere."
Oh right.
So I just went and like sat further up where there was like 2 seats, and then I just saw Callum walk.
I was a bit late for the movie, wasn't I?
Yeah,
I
the
didn't
movie had
realise
already
that-
started.
Yeah, I didn't
and
realise.
and like and I could see you going looking
And
at
you
the
think-
ticket and then going.
You must have thought, oh, Josh didn't even come.
Well, no, I was like really confused because the last time I saw him, it wasn't like we broke off from each other and he was like walking into the cinema, and then I was thinking, did he think that I was going to meet him like at where the sweets were and that?
And he's just waiting there.
So I was like second guessing, and I was thinking like, oh man, I feel so bad. And then I was thinking, should I go out and have a look? But then I was like, surely, like after a certain amount of time, he would have just gone in. And then it's just so comical because I could just imagine it. Josh said that like every time there was like, because a lot of the movie was like set in like the ice, or
Yeah.
the snow. So if there was ever like a wide cut, like wide angle, like cut, like scene where it was like a lot of white, obviously the cinema would get bright, and Josh could just see me going,
Yeah, every I
Just
was
looking
like, I was
around.
like up at the top of the cinema looking down. I just get looking around. I don't even know why I didn't just go like, "Hey, oh man, I'm up here."
I know why. I know why.
Didn't you say as well you were starting to get like really worried as the film went on?
I wasn't. Well, there was a part of me. There was a small part of
Something's
me that was worried
happened.
because I remember thinking in my head.
Emergency.
You know, there's like, I mean, the chances of this would be so small, wouldn't it? But I remember thinking in my head, like, because I couldn't see Josh anywhere, and obviously I wasn't like looking directly behind me because I didn't know if somebody was going to be directly behind me, and then I just think it was really weird that some guy just went. So that was like, but there was only like a couple of rows behind me anyway, so I thought the chances of Josh being there. So I was like, look around, and I was like, man, what the hell has happened to Josh? And I was thinking like, you know, you're just like brainstorming. So I was thinking, right, well, there might have been like a family emergency, and he might have just like rushed off or something. And then I was thinking in my head, imagine what are those weird freak off chance that Josh, even though we're like still relatively young, has had like a heart attack or something, and there's just
Imagine.
like strangers had like attended to him and then rushed him to Musgrave, which is obviously luckily would have only been down the road. But I was thinking, imagine what like Claire and your mum and that would have thought if they just like on the surface, like without my explanation, they would just sort of like, Josh got rushed to hospital with a heart attack, and Calum just went in, just ate a pick and mix and watched.
You got like bits of like sugar around your moustache.
So
And
did
I
you
was-
just wait for Callum after? Like,
Afterwards, when the
I
lights
just-
came
as
up and
soon as-
Callum stood up and looked around, I was like,
And he was just wetting himself.
Yeah.
I just turned around and he was just loving the fact that I'd been like confused for like 2 hours or whatever. The thing is, I could just imagine it. I could just imagine you to yourself just being like,
It's the little things.
yeah. I also knew that he was probably extra glad as well because one thing you don't want to do with Josh in the cinema is like distract his enjoyment.
"That's right.
Don't even look
and-
his way.
No, don't look at me."
Yeah, and if I'd gotten really excited during a scene and interrupted his viewing pleasure, let's put it this way: if Josh was like the ruler of this country and it was like a Zousoir dictatorship,
Yeah.
I would have probably had my balls cut off just for that.
Yeah, you would have. Yeah.
So not only could Josh laugh at my misfortune, which he likes doing, but he
You
also
dangle
could
your
enjoy.
balls in front
But
of
he
us.
could also enjoy the movie in peace.
Yeah, yeah.
So double win for Josh.
It would be. Yeah.
I was just slightly concerned, but anyway, we went certainly. That's a very long-winded way of explaining, right? So yeah, me and Josh were on the naughty table in school, and we both had like masked pencil tops and that. As I said, shout out to anybody that remembers them. Yeah, and then we just became friends then. And then obviously in secondary school, we met Drew.
Yeah.
And we were all in the same tutor group in secondary school, which is really
I remember
cool.
my first day of school, and I remember Mrs. Frost, our tutor, walking me through the corridor, and then I remember like opening the door up, and like obviously I already knew you, Calum,
Obviously.
and you were in the tutor group, but I didn't know you. And she opened the door up, and then everyone like stood still and just stared at me like
The
I
new
was this
boy.
new boy. Yeah. And then I remember Mrs. Frost saying, "This is the new guy. This is Josh."
Yeah, because obviously just to clarify, you didn't do your first term with us, did you?
No, that's it. I was
So
in a
you
different
did your
school.
first term at Chiltern. I did my first term at Haygrove, met Drew and several other people. that we became friends with, and then you came after Christmas.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So then I came in and she was like, "Yeah, is there anywhere where Josh can sit?" And then all of a sudden Drew just put his hand up and was like, "He can sit here, miss."
I still had my northern accent then as well, didn't I?
And that was
I was
it.
fresh from Hartlepool.
That was it, mate. Embraced.
Yeah, that was the beginning of my love.
It was. I would tell you what. That was. What are the chances as well? That obviously, we'd been friends like all through primary school, and then wasn't there just like literally one class that had like one space available, and that was
I think
L,
so. Yeah,
which was our tutor.
Yeah, I think they just
And then what are the chances of that?
Yeah,
and then
I think it's mad because after school and college and everything, like my closest friends are the people in that class.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like crazy
so
that just like fate put us all there.
Yes.
Like, you know?
Because I even remember, man. Like meeting up with you after school, and this was when you decided that you were going to Haygrove, but you were still obviously in Chiltern. You had to see at the end of your first term, and I remember you being like, "Yeah, so like me and my mum have got like word that like there's only one space available, and that's in L." And I was like, "That's my tutor group." And I remember you were like, "Really?" And I was like, "Yeah, man, that's my tutor group." And then I remember telling like Jake Hardin and obviously Drew about it, and Luke Palmer obviously. And
Imagine if Josh was like an S or something.
That would suck.
Imagine that. Yeah, imagine how different I'd be.
Became best friends with Jack Oram. I mean, I like to
Shout out Jack Oram.
Yeah, to be fair, I always got on really well with Jack. But you know what I mean. But that would just been like quite a different.
It'd be weird, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would just be weird. Yeah. Yeah, quite funny. So yeah, and then that's it. That's how we know you.
That was it. And then Nathaniel came along.
Yes.
And then
that weird. That was
when
we were in year 8. We were year 8, wasn't it?
Yeah.
When we were on the French exchange.
Yeah.
That's when he was born, right?
And you bought Nathaniel some trousers in celebration.
And I still really feel really bad about scaring Nathaniel loads once. Like, did I tell you that? Like when like Nathaniel was like a baby.
It's all coming out.
You never told Josh that you did.
I don't know if I told anyone. It traumatised me at the time.
Just so everybody knows,
remember
Drew has a very dark hidden side. We know him too well. Do not be fooled by his masquerade.
I remember. Did I not mention this on the pod before?
I'm scared for what this is going to be.
I just remember.
Sorry, just to set the scene, just imagine everyone, right? Drew, everyone thinks he's this innocent little lad, right? We're in school.
It's definitely a dark side.
He's staying around Josh's house. And then imagine Josh is like, "Do you want a drink, man?" Goes to the kitchen. Obviously, Josh's mum and stepdad are like, think it just in the living room, enjoying their night. Drew, meanwhile, probably goes into Nathaniel's room, does something weird.
No, it wasn't anything like that. It wasn't anything like that. I just remember, like, I was just in the hallway, like, waiting for Josh for a second, and like Josh had just gone in his room, like, was at the bottom of at the bottom of the house, like, just at the end of the hallway on the right. And then I remember, like, Nathaniel, like, just came wandering in from the kitchen and was just like standing at the end of the hall, just at where the kitchen was, at the door. And I remember I was just like. So I just did something like that, and he just went, and just started like bawling his eyes out, and I was like, "Oh fuck!" I mean,
that was so funny what you just did there. As if that's not a swear word as well. That's so good.
Basically, Drew was just like a terror to Nathaniel, like because there was another time when I just like woke up one morning and like if you stayed around, you'd always be on the floor, just like with a little sleeping bag. But I just woke up one morning. And I looked over and the sleeping bag was empty and you were just not there. And I was like, well, where's Drew? And I just walked out and then I walked into the kitchen and Nathaniel used to famously like always have like a little drawer with a bag of sweets in it.
Yeah.
And the drawer was just wide open and the packet of sweets was just open. And then I just looked through the window and I could just see Drew like in his pants just with like a handful of sweets just like eating them on his own in the garden.
Oh my God.
Mate, Drew is so low key impish, isn't he?
Yeah.
Did I ever tell you the story of like this was probably when we were about like year 8, maybe even year 7, and I was staying around his house in Cannington, and I think it was like the morning. It was like a couple of hours before I went home, and I saw Age of Empires 2, just like the disc, like out on the side by his computer. And I went, "Oh, that's cool. I got that game as well, man." And he just suddenly went, "Oh man, I'm sorry. I should have said." He went, "That is your game." And I was like, What do you mean it's my game? And he was like, last time I stayed around your house, he was like, just before my mum came to pick me up, he was like, I just put it in my pocket and took it. And I remember I was like really confused. Really bad, and he was like, yeah, have it back, man, have it back now. And I just remember being like, why didn't you just ask to borrow it? And he was like, I don't know. So I was like, right, so you pikeyed my game because you didn't want to ask me if you could borrow it, even though I would have obviously just let you borrow it. And it was just really like his little confession.
It's a red flag right there.
Like his little like just confession that he just like we were friends, but he just had the opportunity to steal it when he was around my house, and he was like, I'm taking it, mate. I'm pocketing this. Like,
Age of Empires.
I remember one time you took my funeral shoes to the gym. And you had some joggers and then some like smart suit shoes, and you wore them at the gym, and then took them home, and then I had a funeral, and I had to wear Converse.
My god!
Oh man!
Well, you just had a funeral that day.
Well,
no, a couple of weeks later.
I borrowed your funeral shoes.
Yeah,
for the gym.
you had no. For some reason, you had no shoes at my house,
Mate.
and you needed to go to the gym. We both went to the gym, and you had these little smart cleaned up shoes.
Oh my god!
Everybody, watch out for this guy.
Watch
You're around
your shoes. Hide your shoes.
He'll be put under a false sense of security.
Hide your Age of Empires.
But you'll never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Hide
dear
everything.
Lord.
Hide your shoes.
Hide your Malwam.
Hide your sweets. Hide your shoes. Hide your games.
The dark underbelly of the imp.
Yeah. So Bullwinkle was born when we were 13 in the French exchange.
That's right.
Do you still have your little? What did I buy him? Was it
Some trousers.
I think you got me trousers for like a 3-year-old or something.
Yeah, no, they were shorts, but we got on the trousers because they were like. They were like
I like in my head. It's so funny now because obviously I've got a kid, so I know how radically different like
But they were
3-year-old
just so
clothes
small.
are.
You're
But
like,
I just thought
that's
basically like kids. That's basically a baby's. Like.
Yeah, I'll just buy some like shorts.
I hope you've got them like framed at home on the wall.
Yeah.
Man, I'm sure at some point I got some use out of them.
Yeah.
I hope you did. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I hope you did. Yeah, and then that's how we all know Zeus. But obviously Zeus is admired locally for his multi-talented life, for his multi-talented talents.
Only by me.
No.
By everyone, man.
No, yeah. So obviously known for you were in Death by Kai with Drew for a long time, and you were the front man of that, rhythm guitarist and singer for that for how many years?
Almost 20 years.
Almost 20 years. And probably one of the like biggest bands to come out of Bridgewater, well, metal bands to come out of Bridgewater for like 20, 30 years, I'd say. I think that's fair to say. Probably, I'd say. Yeah.
While we were doing it on the scene.
Yeah, for sure.
On the top.
Also, well-respected artist, and also well-respected photographer. Those obviously were taken up a little bit later. Well, I say they were taken up later. Obviously, you've always been good at art.
Pisces creative side.
Yeah. That's what all the white chicks say. But
Me, baby.
it's the Pisces in him. But so yeah, even I remember in primary school, man. I remember that you were like always like really good at art back in primary school and stuff. I remember us just doing. Funnily talking about Dragon Ball Z, I remember us doing like Dragon Ball Z pictures like over and over again. But you were always like the best at them and stuff, you know.
Yeah. Do you remember when I used to make those comics? I used to make like comics, but I used to I just used to draw like Dragon Ball Z characters on A4 and then staple them together and make like a little comic.
Yes. Do you know what? I wouldn't have remembered that unless you'd actually told me that. But as soon as you said about you stapling them, I remember now.
Staples,
like Namek Saga ones and stuff like
that's
that.
crazy.
Was that right?
Yeah.
Did you do like a Namek Saga one?
I think I did a bit of everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember the Cell Saga stuff, but
Right.
I made us the characters. So I think I made like you Goku. And I made like me Gohan, and then we had some other friends, so I just made them the ones that die all the time.
Yeah, Ben Kelly was Krillin.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that Ben
So
Kelly
Calum
was
must.
Krillin.
So Daniel must have been Tien.
That sounds right. And what was Luke Bomber like? Chaozu. Or something?
I think he actually was. Yeah.
I like how because Luke was small, he was always like almost like whatever was like the small weird one. Do you remember when like in like year 7 and we had like a sleepover at was it year 7 or year 8? And we had like a sleepover at my parents' house. We like just made Luke be Gimli.
Oh yeah.
Because he was the shortest one. We were like doing like Lord of the Rings characters and stuff, and then we just made him be Gimli. He was like, I don't look anything like Gimli.
Was this the time you sliced his ass?
Yeah, sliced his ass with a sword.
Yeah.
Apparently, he's still got that scar to this
Really?
day. Every now and again, if I ever see him, it's like one of the things that he might
Does
bring
he?
up. Yeah. And then he usually just like flashes the top of it. He's like, yeah, man, look.
I wonder if his bum hurts whenever you're near, like Voldemort.
Mate, I hope so.
Oh, my ass hurts. Calum must
Spidey
be
sense.
I remember it told me that like to this day, like whenever I'm brought up around his mum, she's always just a bit like because she
really?
just like was really angry.
Really?
Apparently, like at the time, obviously, I was ignorance is bliss. But apparently, when he went home after that, and obviously like his mum saw his wound, apparently he had to like literally beg her to like not do anything about it because she was furious.
Really?
Yeah, apparently she was gonna like come over, and I think she was like even thinking about like calling the police or something else. Like, yeah.
You were the bum
wrath and
slicer.
Fury of the mum.
Yeah. Imagine just like
Mum
Luke
bum.
trying to explain that, like, why have you got this massive wound on your bum cheek? And it's like, Calum stabbed me in the ass with a sword.
I lost tying my shoelaces.
Yeah, it doesn't sound great, does it? Yeah. I did get shot.
It did look cool.
I got shot in the heart by Drew.
And I oh yeah, no, what did I do? Oh no, and I caught your leg that time when you tried to kick me. Do you remember that?
That was a good one.
That was a good one.
That was Ultra Instinct.
That was like Matrix, wasn't it?
I remember I was really surprised that you did that.
I was just chatting, and you were in the background doing spinning kicks, and you like span at me, and I was like, while
I went
talking,
to kick you, and you just like, real casually grabbed my leg,
Your leg
and,
and
like,
then flew you
lifted it up, and then just
the guy just fell onto the floor on his back.
Josh went Ultra Instinct for that one. That was like the best thing you've ever done.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, that's what we should be talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was impressive, man. I remember Luke was with us actually when that happened. And
Was it Luke? Was it? Yeah.
And he was like,
That was amazing.
because the three of us were on my grandparents' front lawn, weren't
Yeah,
we?
that's it.
And then you guys were sort of like chatting, and I don't even know
You
what
were
I
just
was
doing like practicing your spin kicks.
I was practicing my martial arts, you know.
Yeah.
I was training very like Dragon Ball Z style,
Yeah.
just like randomly, just like. And then went to kick Josh out of nowhere. Josh went Ultra Instinct. Mid conversation, caught him a kick, casually like flipped me in the air, carried on with the conversation with Luke, and then they both just
You were
like
like, on the floor.
Yeah. That was
Remember
good.
when I cried about my sinuses on your?
I remember you
nan's-
crying about your sinuses.
on your nan's lawn.
Yeah, because you like you did
I
something
had
to
this
him.
weird thing when I was
The
young.
sinuses?
Yeah, I had this weird thing when I was like young that I had something wrong with my sinuses, and I always thought sinuses was like a disease or something. So I was like, I've got sinuses.
He suffers from sinus. You didn't
But it
ever
was
get a
'cause
sinus jab.
They would always
Sinusitis,
get like
yeah.
super blocked up, all like my sinuses and that. And I remember like it was something. We were on your nan's lawn, and I was on your shoulders. Or I was on someone's shoulders, and something happened like when we got kicked down, and I just
I remember.
hit the deck, and it's like boom, like head on the floor,
Yeah.
right in the sinus.
Right in the sinus, mate.
Oh, mate, you hit me right in the sinus. That doesn't make any sense.
I like head planted like my nose basically.
I remember taking it really seriously at the time as well, being like, oh, not a sinus. Oh no, not a sinus.
Oh mate, he's done for everyone.
If that's a
He's
sinus,
done
he's
for.
done for.
He's been done in right in the sinus.
I think it was when we used to play the games of like jousting, where we'd always like put,
that was it.
Like we'd always have people on our
One,
shoulders,
two
smaller
people
run at
would
each
be on the
other.
shoulders, and then we'd like run at each other. And
Yeah, and
stuff
whoever
like,
fell.
We
yeah.
should do that again.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
Oh, imagine our old bones now.
Yeah. Brittle.
Well,
yeah.
I wouldn't be one of the ones on top. So.
Yeah, that's true. I reckon I'd break a bone being on the bottom. To be honest.
Yeah.
Me and Willie could be. I was just about to say that was going to be the game. Me and Willie could be the bottom.
You're always the bottom.
In gay circles, that means very different things. Me and Willie could be the stallions.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds way better than saying we're on the bottom. And then we should decide who should be the knights, and then I reckon we should redo that game.
Yeah, I'll be up for that.
I'll be ref.
Whoever.
We'll do it with like actual jousts as well, like you
Oh.
know, like in Gladiators where there's
Yeah.
like the padded end.
So if you
We'll
die,
just
you
have
die.
one of
Oh,
those and
right.
just
Well, we
literally,
could
like,
make
yeah.
we could make them out of something that was
Or like gladiators. We
Yeah.
used to do like gladiators. Are you ready? But on people's shoulders and just like fighting them.
That would be cool as well.
Yeah.
I reckon we should do both.
Yeah.
I reckon we could almost like make a joust that wasn't too dangerous. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that was
like,
a bit cushioned at the end, but would still
Yeah.
do the job.
Do you know what I mean? Like almost like I don't know.
And we could wear helmets.
Yeah.
We could that'd be well.
Yeah,
if
man,
you
someone
actually
could have
got
the-
like
the one over
padded
there.
up,
Yeah.
and like you know got
Yeah.
like a motorbike jacket on or
Hey.
something with a helmet.
Just
Yeah.
like that. Helmet.
Wear that,
Yeah.
That's all you'd need. You wouldn't need to have a motorbike jacket.
But
I
that
reckon.
would be fun because you could go full ham then, and then it'd just be like and still not.
Part
really
of the
hurt
fun
yourself.
though is the pain though, isn't it?
I reckon,
Just to watch.
No one got hurt.
I reckon it would still hurt, but it'd be like.
You reckon?
Yeah, I reckon it'd still hurt. Actually, then my motorbike jacket had some proper nice padding, so
Yeah.
yeah, I'd want that anyway.
Mate, I would be so up for that. I honestly, I can't even tell you with words. One of my problems in life is that I'm too up for too much. Do you know what I mean? It's like you talk about anything, I'm like, man, I really still want to do barbershop quartet stuff.
Yeah.
But I suddenly, and now you're talking about this, I'm completely sold on this idea of like jousting.
Or even
Do it
like
together.
like fighting with like oak staffs or something, like doing
Yeah.
like that'd be just real cool. Or even choreographing something, but where you like smacking the sticks.
No, it doesn't. I don't want it to be choreographed.
No.
It has to.
No.
The thing is, if it wasn't choreographed though, it'd just be like, and then it'd just be done.
Have you seen there's like
Yeah.
a UFC league, but it's like literally
Medieval-
what you're talking
medieval
about. Like it's
fighting.
like
Yeah,
medieval
well-
fighting where they got like swords
Man, it's
and
so
like
good, isn't it?
maces and
but
stuff like that.
they are pretty kitted out, aren't
Yeah,
they?
yeah.
Because like literally,
Oh,
if
yeah,
it was like
yeah.
one
Oh, yeah,
wrong
yeah,
hit,
yeah,
and you'd be
yeah.
like,
Imagine if like you were jousting, but like how we used to do it, where you're on each other's shoulders. Imagine if you actually had like a staff, like you'd be aiming at someone's chest, but you might get the person's face.
Yeah,
holding
yeah.
the person.
imagine that.
When we used to do it, we didn't use anything as a weapon, did we?
No, we
I
just
think
punched, we just sort of
we
punched.
just did that with the arms.
Yeah.
We should just do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You should
that'd
just
be
do
good.
that
Yeah.
because I feel like that is firm enough to do some damage, but it's not so hard that we can seriously hurt each other.
Imagine
You know?
catching like a proper just like Just like that would be so
There would
good.
be rules, obviously, that you'd be disqualified for trying to punch. So if like your person at like just before impact like tried to do a punch, it'd be disqualified because that's cheating, isn't it?
That's too
You'd
far.
have to lock out your arm,
Lock out your arm,
hold
and
it
just keep
there,
it like that.
and then like me or Willie or Josh would have to be the stallions because I reckon we would be the muscle.
Man, there's 4 of us here today. Maybe that's how the pod ends.
Yeah.
That's how you end it. Yeah.
Should we just
aim,
scrap the song.
aim the cameras outside the lawn there.
yeah.
Well, just through the window.
Yeah.
In Bloodstock, they have this unofficial thing which happens after hours in the campsite. It's like evolved over the years,
Yeah.
just from people that were staying. After that, after people that are just sort of like staying there, and they basically it's called bin jousting, and you know those like big green like the ones that are out here like the big green industrial. It's basically they get 2 of them. One person sits in each one with a lid out, and then someone's behind, and then they just like run them at each other, and then the aim is to like knock the bin out, knock them out the bin.
Nice.
That sounds cool, man. I think one of the things that I miss most about being an adolescent is how much just like fun, stupid stuff we did. Because as an adult, you don't get to do any of that. Do you? Like, do you know what I mean? And I always feel like, obviously, you can get away with it just by being an adolescent. But let's face it, even if you just cried in public to do that now,
it's still in there.
It would
Still in there
it would be
somewhere.
pretty strange. Let's face it. No, it would.
I remember, like, speaking of how weird we were when we were younger, there was a time where we were like sat on West, like just coming under Durley Road from West Street, on the side of the road at like 2 a.m. I don't know if it was the 3 of us, but every single time a car would come up, Drew would just jump off the wall and just run in front of the car and get them to stop it. And you'd be like, and then the car would like screech, and then they'd look really angry and drive past, and then you'd sit back on the wall and we'd just carry on chatting. And in the end, like there was like some lights coming towards us, and you jumped out again. And when it came and stopped, there was a police car, and they were
That
just
does
like,
ring a bell.
"There's been reports of a girl jumping in."
The best
did
thing
it
about
like
that is that they describe Drew as a girl.
Yeah.
That is just the
Bane of my
best
life,
thing.
man. I'm a late developer. I had long curly hair. I remember we were sat on a plane once, and there was me and my 2 sisters sitting there.
Reports of a
And
girl.
there was this woman behind. She was like, "Oh, what 3 lovely daughters you have?" And I was like, "Oh, sound."
Mate,
Like,
literally, that is the best thing about that entire story is just that the police said we've had reports of a girl. I can just imagine you, like, you know, you're just like having fun, like, yeah, I'm being so fun, like badass. And
I
then
used
it's
to
just
wear
like,
girls'
oh,
flares.
I called you a girl.
do you remember those like that
Yeah.
pair of girls'
Were they
flares?
like
I
purple?
had that?
Were they
Yeah,
purple?
like multi-striped flares.
I didn't realise they were girls.
Yeah, they
That
were,
probably
man.
didn't help.
Yeah, long curly hair.
And you were quite a bold-faced lad. weren't you?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
didn't have much stubble or anything.
Yeah, I didn't have armpit hair till I was about 18.
No, I remember when you first got it, and you were really proud. And you told me.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
embarrassed. I couldn't wear like a vest in college or anything. Like, you know, because I hadn't even got armpit hair yet. 17.
It's like Garth in Wayne's where he's like, didn't admit my pews, did you?
No.
No, of course not. That's like, I remember we played a similar game with Luke Palmer in primary school. Do you remember that one? And it was like, this was like stupidly dangerous though, man. Do you remember we had like a skateboard, and opposite
Go
my
down.
grandparents there was like a really steep driveway,
Yeah, yeah.
and we'd go to the top of the driveway, and we would rely on the other 2, whoever wasn't doing it out of the 3 of us, to say that the coast was clear.
Yeah.
And we would say we would go down, sit on the skateboard. We wouldn't ride it like an actual skateboarder because we weren't that cool. We'd sit on it and we'd like go down our driveway and we'd fly across the road, right? So like to my grandparents. But then Luke Palmer, being Luke Palmer, and to be fair, I love him for this because it's. I mean, apart from the fact it could have killed me, but I love this sense of humour. But yeah, there was one of the times you did it. Do you remember? Like there actually was a car coming, but he told me that there wasn't. A car.
Yeah.
It wasn't
Oh my
coming.
God.
And I joke, I came up flying down. No joke, I missed the car by about that much.
No.
Yeah, a car would have literally. I was sat on it. It would have ploughed into me, probably killed me, or like made me like full on like brain dead. More brain dead than I already am.
Imagine.
God.
And then I just remember that the car like screeching around, like beeping its horn, going freaking crazy, and like shouting out the window and that, and just being like. But I remember like you and Luke just like wetting yourselves, just like laughing so much.
There's
Obviously,
not
like,
that sense
flew
of
across
danger
the
when you're
road.
that
No,
young, is it?
no.
Because that sounds like that could have been like horrific.
Yeah,
but-
like if
Oh,
you were
man,
the person
yeah.
in the car as an
Yeah.
adult now, imagine
Oh.
how like annoyed you'd be.
I would
Yeah.
probably shout at the kids. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd probably be like, because like, man, when you're an adult, I think as well, because life's more stressful when you're an adult. You're going about your business. You're like rushing around a lot more. And then yeah, just imagine that. Just like the last thing you want is for the rest of your life remembering that time that you like killed a kid.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Or like made a kid brain dead. Like it sounds like an obvious thing to say, but do you know what I mean?
It is. It's
but
savage.
we weren't thinking like that.
No,
Can't be doing with that today.
I need to get down this hill on this skateboard really fast.
Yeah, it's like so stupid if you think about it. But
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
You got your first road rage today, didn't you,
I
Nathaniel?
did. I was honking at someone for the first time today.
Yeah.
remind me why you were honking at him.
Just sat at like a green light, you know.
And they didn't go.
Exactly.
When it was like fully blocked out in everywhere. So
Well, my thought was, if you know, I don't honk, someone's going to honk at me in a minute.
Yeah.
Someone's going to think
Oh,
this is
someone
my
has to
problem.
be the honker.
You got-
Yeah.
Exactly.
There's always a honker.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sometimes you've got to step up and be the honker.
Chief honker.
And
yeah.
then you go to Egypt and everyone's the honker.
I know,
Have you ever
yeah.
like
I
done
heard
that?
that.
Like been abroad?
Oh,
and
yeah.
then like they
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like
Yeah, like in
honk at
Turkey, it's like that.
everything.
Italy as well.
Is that-
Yeah.
It's like-
Yeah, man, it's like it's so funny.
Part
It
of the
goes to show
driving.
that we're actually quite a polite nation, isn't it? Because like I think, man, I would get so annoyed if
I
people
love
were,
the
like,
unwritten
Yeah.
rule of like
Yeah, the little
in
hand.
England. It's
Yeah.
just after when someone lets
Especially
them
like
know.
where the places that we guys live. Yeah, it's not so much in cities, is it? I always, even if I drive into Bristol, I always get a little bit annoyed that like
Yeah.
you'll
No
be
one
waiting
gives
at a
you a hand.
roundabout for ages and things like that, and it's like I can't believe no one's letting me go.
Mm.
Rural politeness.
Rural politeness.
But getting back to like art and stuff. Oh no, one thing I will say before we get that, just because it was another fun little game we used to play. Do you remember we went through that stage as well of just like late at night in B&Q, just getting in the trolleys? And
That
just,
was
like,
the best.
pushing them into like the curbs and stuff.
Yeah.
Into the
fun,
pavement.
wasn't
That was a lot of fun, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
That was like almost like the joy of like, because you could almost be okay, but you could also get savagely hurt.
Yeah.
And it was always like funny when like just like
You hit like a curb and went flying.
yeah. That was always a really good one. I really enjoyed that.
Oh.
Speaking of like injuring other people, didn't you like when I was a little baby? Didn't you like really injure me once or something? You like threw me in the air.
I was like, in the living room. I was like just holding you in the air, and I kept like chucking you. And every time I'd chuck you, you'd be like, and like smile. And then I just chuck you way too high, and you just like smashed your head on the light on the ceiling, and you just started screaming. So I just put you on the sofa and ran away and went up into my room.
That's so good, man.
Your mum comes in like doesn't know what is wrong with you? Like can't even talk yet.
Man, I was feeling my head the other day, you know, and I felt like a massive bump on my head, which is bad for two reasons. For the first, if I ever go bald, it's not going to be good for me. It's not a good day if I ever go bald. But the second is, that could have come from anywhere, but there's a good chance it may have
Maybe
come
it
from
was.
that day.
Yeah.
Maybe,
Yeah.
man.
That sounds
Maybe
like
it's
a
your
pretty
brain
hefty-
like bulging
calcified.
out.
Yeah, maybe it is. Yeah, maybe it is.
But it's
yeah.
made that part of your skull stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like-
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If anyone hits you there, you'll be like real good.
Exactly. That's like the opposite of my Achilles heel.
Yeah.
That's just my Achilles armour.
Achilles head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, I've thought about this a couple of times over the years, but I don't think I've remembered it like recently to ask you about it, talk to you about it, Josh, and it'd be interesting to talk to you about it with Nathaniel present. How angry were you at the time, and how angry are you still about the fact that Nathaniel messed with your live shit binge and purge?
Yeah. I mean,
So for just to
this
give
is the moment.
bit of context, so obviously Metallica, big metal band. For people that don't know, obviously Kings of Metal at the moment. One of their like famous and well regarded sort of like CDs / DVDs is called Live. Live Poo Binge and Purge, but with SHIT, and it's like legendary like live music video, isn't it, essentially? And you had like this really epic.
like a little box set
It's
in
like
the
a
cardboard
coffin or
box.
something. Oh no, was it like
It looked like a flight
case
thing. Yeah.
yeah.
And
And I saved up for it.
I remember that
money.
I remember that he did something to it, but can you remind me what
You just tore it all up. You just tore the whole
Right.
box out, like, almost
Right.
like when you would open like a toy and like,
Right.
and you just don't, and you think you're going to chuck the cardboard box in the bin. You
Right,
just like
that's
rip it open.
Because you were like furious at the time, weren't
Yeah,
you?
you came and like just showed me the box just on the bed, and I was like, I was still in like in bed, like I hadn't got up yet, and I was like,
That was the other time we went ultra
Man,
instinct.
well, if I
Yeah.
didn't apologise then, I'm sorry now.
that's
So so like,
Good luck.
how were
finding
you
that on
feeling at the
eBay,
time?
though.
Did you try and retaliate in any way at the time?
I think I shouted at you, and then I think Mum was like, "Look, just calm down, all right? Like he's,
Did
he's
you
only
say
little."
something and your mum was like, "Don't call your little brother that"?
I think
yeah,
something like that,
I can remember
You
it along those
killed him in
lines.
expletive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And then-
I think
Yeah. How old
Yeah.
do you reckon Bullwinkle was at the time?
I reckon 2 or 3.
Yeah.
The next day was when he threw me in the air. And
That
I
was
banged
it,
my
yeah.
head.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe it was. Maybe it
Lunge.
was. Yeah.
Lucky I caught you.
How to this day, how cut up are you about it, man?
Do you know what? I'd actually forgotten, but you've just brought up like a sore.
Just the fire.
I'm just
The
like,
wounds.
yeah. It's rekindled the family feud. Yeah.
That's it. I'm not coming for Christmas
Boil.
anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not coming at all.
Not unless there's a brand new Pigeon Pair
Yeah.
box set ready, mate.
Or just that one, just sellotape.
Yeah.
I did keep the box still, even though it's all broken.
Really?
Yeah, it's
Have you still got it at home?
Yeah, I'll have to find it
To
and
this
put it
day?
up. I'll send
Yeah.
it to you.
It's a one of one now, man.
Yeah.
You'd have to try and like super glue it to
Yeah.
the rips together.
I think I did tape it all and stuff.
Yeah.
Do you reckon that was karma for the time that you put your other brother Jake into therapy?
Maybe.
For scaring him.
Maybe. Yeah.
So for those people that don't know, obviously we've actually had Jacob Benjamin Ayerst, the middle brother, on Pandora's Box a couple of years ago as a guest. Obviously, cool guy, into history and that. So yeah, he was an interesting guest. Jake is, as I said, the middle brother. He, it's funny because you wouldn't necessarily think it now because he's like quite like gruff, isn't he, Jake? But obviously when he was younger, he used to get quite scared, and he had like night terrors, didn't he?
Yeah.
And you naturally thinking, oh right, so yeah, my brother gets night terrors, and he gets like, he's going through some hard times. So naturally, you dressed up as the Grim Reaper, didn't you? Essentially, and then waited in his room for him in the dark.
Yeah.
For like ages, wasn't it?
Yeah. I remember just like all I remember of it is like minutes, like probably like half an hour.
And you like start scaring yourself.
I could like feel, like I could hear my breath inside the mask, and it was getting.
It's like Darth Vader.
I swear, like there's like some scenes in Halloween where they show it inside Michael Myers' mask, and all you hear is like.
That's what it felt like. Yeah.
You were like, did you feel like you were slowly turning into a serial killer?
Yeah, and I could barely.
And you was freaking yourself out.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
And you was like freaking yourself out.
Yeah. I was worried what I could do.
That's dark.
Yeah.
So Josh used to have, and I remember it very well. You had a very realistic sort of skull like mask, but it actually like went all over your head, didn't it? It wasn't just like a little rubbish one with like a bit of string around the back.
Yeah.
So it looked quite cool and realistic, and you obviously had a big black sort of cloak with the hood up, and you had this cool staff, didn't you? But it had like a little skull on the top. It almost looked like some cool like skull.
I think it was
shaman
actually
stuff.
all Jake's.
Was it?
So I used all his own stuff against him. Yeah.
Mate, that's twisted in itself. That's twisted in itself. So yeah, so you were waiting there for like half an hour, and then he finally opened the door. And so hadn't he been having night terrors leading up to that?
I think for a while, yeah.
It was like casually and nice. I think for a while he had. Yeah, we have these like savage night terrors, and we're obviously been waking up very distressed in the night and stuff. And then basically it all went a bit too far, didn't it? Yeah. So what's
the screams still
haunt you to this day?
Yeah.
Did you say he like screamed so much that it even like scared you a bit?
Yeah, it scared me. Yeah, and then all I could see through the distorted vision of like the mask where it was all over my eyes, was my mum just coming towards me and then just grabbing me. And I was like, and I couldn't see, and I was all disorientated because I couldn't see or hear anything properly.
You're like, oh.
I could just hear Jake screaming in the background, and he was like running, like pacing everywhere, and like running, and like sort of like in like panic. And my mum was just grabbing me.
Did he turn the light on, or was it? Did he just see you with like the lights?
It was pitch black, so it was just the light of when they from the outside, kept shining onto me, and I was just like, yeah.
And his
mum was like really heavily pregnant with me as well.
Oh, you could have induced labour.
I know.
Yeah, because didn't you say she was like scared as well?
Yeah. And then I went to bed.
Whammy.
I went to bed scared myself, like feeling really like dark. And then next door I could just hear.
I love this story.
My heart was like racing.
I love this story so much. Do you remember the time that you were at my house? It was one of the times you were staying over, and you tried to jump out on me, but you were hiding behind the door.
Yeah.
And I walked into my bedroom, and you jumped at me, and I just, it's like a fight or flight thing. But that day I chose fight. Yeah. And I just instinctively, I didn't even like realise it was Josh. It was just pure instinct. I just turned and I just freaking lamped Josh.
Right in the face.
Yeah. And I just like walked in, he was like, and I was like, bang! And then Josh was on the floor, just like, It's a bit like, have you guys ever seen that video? I think it's quite like a. Do you remember those? Like, was it?
Oh, the wheelie bin, and he comes out.
Yeah, it was a bit like that. Yeah. You know, where the guy in that video, it's like you can see he's not even like actively choosing to do it. He just responds. Yeah. It was like that. It was so funny.
I remember
and then he just goes straight back into the wheelie bin.
Yeah.
I remember like once going to your house when no one was there at all. But like I think I left something there, and you said, "Oh, help yourself, no one's in." So I just walked into the house because it was all unlocked.
Obviously,
I walked in, and your kitchen light like didn't work properly, so it just like flickered on and off, and then it would like turn off again, and it would just flicker and like a strobe light. And I remember I got your mic stand and I put it under the light.
The dressing gown.
Yeah, and I hung a coat hanger on the top of the thing, dressing gown, and a hat, and then had it under the light flickering for when you came home.
That was hilarious.
Did you see it?
Yeah, I just came in. I was like, oh, that's awesome.
Oh, so you didn't like get fooled?
No. I was like, it was definitely
That's
like,
disappointing.
that's like that. I just thought it was real funny, and then I'd forgot that I'd said for you to go in.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, what the hell? Like, who the hell has even done that?
Yeah,
And then I was like,
That's
oh yeah, that
amazing.
must have been Josh.
Oh yeah, that's pretty cool.
So funny.
That's pretty cool. So getting back to the art though.
Oh yeah.
Getting back to the art. So obviously now, what's the style of art you do with like the dots? What's it called?
It's called like stippling is the dot work.
Stippling, is it?
Yeah, stipple
stippling.
art.
Right. So that's
Yeah, or dot
officially what you do is like stipple art.
Yeah, that's what I'm sort of into, but like it's more like a mixture of everything. Like pen and ink is like is like obviously as it sounds. Like that sort of style is what like I find quite inspiring.
Right.
And yeah, and stippling is like a technique that you use. Like, have you heard of like hatching or like cross hatching, which is basically like where you do like almost like a noughts and crosses sort of like that's
right.
that's like a way like in
I've seen it. No,
you know, like imagine in like medieval times and stuff where they would like do engraving, like, and the engraving is like, when you actually look closely at any pictures, like the shading is like loads and loads of lines, and the
Right.
tighter the lines, like crossed, is the darker it is,
Right.
and like the less tight the lines is, the lighter it is.
Oh, that's cool.
And that's
cool.
how they used to like engrave like wood carvings and stuff, and then they did it with like newspapers with the ink. So like, and then like stippling is basically like a dot version of that. Instead of lines, it's like dots. So like the tighter the dots, the darker the image, and the lighter dots.
Okay,
Yeah.
and that's cool, man. And like as I said, like, you know, in school you were already like really good at art. How did do you like, were you just always into art? Because it seemed like it for me. Like, do you remember ever a time thinking like, I think art's really cool, or was it just something that you naturally did? And as you sort of like evolved, because obviously you only started doing art to the degree that you're doing it now. What I mean by that is like, so you've done like a poster for Mastodon, and you've like sold prints,
Yeah.
and things like that. So like in that regard, obviously it's like to quite a professional standard, well, definitely to a professional standard. But like, when did you pick it back up again, and when did you like almost like decide to do like the stipling and stuff like that? Like,
So I started like my first memory of like drawing as a kid was when I was like really young. My dad used to draw. I remember sat at our table in our kitchen. My dad's not like an artist as such, but he used to just like draw like little random doodles, and he always used to draw skulls, like but with like big heads and little bodies.
right?
And he'd have an A4 pieces of paper, and he'd like draw these like funny like big headed skulls, like skeletons, and then he'd draw it, and then he'd pass it to me, and I'd be sat at the table and I'd like colour them in. And I remember like I must have only been like 2 or 3, but I remember like just colouring in these like skull drawings, and I was really like that. And from then on, I used to just like drawing like the Dragon Ball Z stuff and all that. And then I sort of like when you go to secondary school, I always think this is like one of the biggest sort of like disservices you can do, especially like the school we went to. It got to a point where you almost felt like you had to make a choice between one thing.
Oh yeah.
Like, because like you
Yeah,
have to
it's
choose
annoying,
your
yeah.
lessons.
Yeah.
It was almost like, right, you either do music
Like, I
or
could
you
never
do
do
art.
history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did art. I did music and DT.
Ah,
Like, I
yeah,
really
yeah.
wanted to do
We
DT.
did music and history, didn't
Yeah,
we?
we did, yeah. And it's like weird because like when you think of it, if you're in school and you're really into like art, you're probably going to be more inclined to do art and
Yeah.
music
Yeah.
rather than art and science.
Yeah, of course you are. Yeah,
But like you're forced to do like science or like
Yeah.
geography or whatever. But like then you like leave things out that like you would have probably really benefited from.
Yeah,
So
100%,
because like we were so into like all our music, we were playing like in bands and like playing like guitars and stuff. Like, and obviously music is like my main love. Just art just had to like
take
like completely
Go by
yeah.
the wayside.
so just never so like it's almost like I like compartmentalized it and just like put it away. It wasn't until like I actually remember it was probably about 2017 or 18. Can't remember when the album came out, but like Mike Shinoda released like his solo project called like Fort Minor.
Yeah,
And like the album cover, like I was obsessed with the album cover when it came out. And I remember like as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, I really want to draw like cool things like that. It's nothing like the style I do now, I don't think. So I bought all these like pens and stuff and got really into it, and I was like trying to draw like cartoony things like that. And then that sort of like died out for a little bit, but like I still had that sort of, I was doing it a little bit, but, and then I think Metallica maybe then shared like something by this artist called Richie Beckett, who then became like my favourite artist. He's a guy from Wales, from the valleys of Wales, and he just he just does like all these like amazing like art for like he's done like one of Mastodon, you know, Cold Dark Place, the EP
Oh, yeah.
by Macedon.
Yeah.
He did like the cover for that, and he's done loads of their stuff. And then through that and like Instagram, like I got into like similar artists, and he does the dot work and the pen and ink stuff. So that's
Oh,
like how I
nice,
got
man.
into that. Yeah, so that was it really. And then like, yeah, that naturally took me into getting really into like doing like concert like suddenly it was like amazing, because suddenly I realized that I can do art but for music. So it's like I combine them. So it's like concert posters and like like EP or album covers or anything like that. Yeah, so that's it really.
It's sort of important to note, isn't it, that you, no matter what it is, you've always got a different creative like
endeavor
going on at one time. Like there's always something that you're pursuing.
I always feel like like if I don't, I'd go crazy. Like I might burn out for like a couple of weeks if I do it too much. But then, like, I'll instantly, like, I won't even know why, but it'll get, like, a couple of weeks in if I don't do anything, and I'll start just feeling a bit low and a bit, like short-tempered, and, like, and then I'll suddenly...
outlet.
Yeah, and I'll suddenly just be like, do you know what? I've just realised I've, like, not done any, like, photography or art or music, like in like, a couple of weeks now, at least. Yeah. And then I'll force myself to, like, break past, like a dry sort of spot, and then all of a sudden, like, and then it'll be like woo, and then I'll be like well into it again.
I always think it's almost like a cup, innit? It's almost like, obviously, if you're pouring so much liquid in the cup that it's overflowing, you like get burnt out, and it's just like too much. But then obviously, at the same time, if like it just goes empty,
it's like a magic cup, isn't it?
Yeah,
it is like a magic cup. Like what is that? Like it's on a movie or a series or something where like you have a cup and then like you think it's gone, and like you look in and it's got like something in it again. I can't remember what it is.
Yeah, it doesn't ring a bell to me.
It might be on like the Santa Claus actually, when he has like it's something like that where he like. Maybe it's the stocking and he empties the stocking, and when he looks back it's just got stuff in it again, and that's what it feels like. Like you empty your sort of mind and you think there's nothing left. You're like, well, there's nothing left. That's me done now. I don't know what I'm ever going to do. And then you look, and it's almost like we almost get it, like musically especially. When you actually do something that you think's like worthwhile doing, it feels like you didn't do it. It feels like it did you. Do you know what I mean? Have you ever felt like that? Yeah. Like you sort of, it's almost like you're just like a vessel.
Well, it's like the whole thing in it, like the term like capturing lightning in a bottle, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's like if you sit down and say like, I'm going to write a song. Yeah, you can write a song, but the chances that that's going to be like the best song you've written is like very slim.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're just naturally out and about, could be like in your car, could be doing anything, and then you just like start, like something just comes into your head, whether it's like a melody or some lyrics or anything. That's usually, isn't it? And then you have to like quickly capture it. And like whether it's like nowadays, obviously you can make a voice note in your phone. In the past, I used to hear about like artists that would like wake up and they literally like dreamt of like a song and stuff, and then they'd quickly write down the lyrics and the chords, because they'd be like, otherwise I know I'd forget that in the morning. And things like that, you know. And it's just like, yeah, you have to capture that. Otherwise, it will just disappear into the ether, won't it?
Yeah, that's what I like find so intriguing about it. That it almost feels like it's not about like your own ego. It's about just like
you're tapping into something wider.
Yeah, and then it like happens, and like you don't even know. Like afterwards, you're like when I wasn't drawing for ages, especially. I'd then look at stuff I had drawn, not like in a big-headed way, but I'd just be like,
"Whoa,
I could not do that.
Yeah.
I could not do that now." Like,
do you find as well, like when you're like deep into it and you're like kind of locked into the zone, like rather than draining you, like some tasks drain you, and you're like, right, I'm doing this and I've got to do it, and you feel yourself getting tired, like on the computer or something. But like when you're locked in something like really creative, it almost seems to be time like changes, and it almost seems like something is fueling you to just keep going. And like I feel energized rather than drained.
I think it's
and
the
I
excitement, isn't it? It's like natural excitement that you're harnessing, and it's just like when you love something that much, it's not like an effort to you, is it? So
it becomes
something you can do hours, like that dot work and that, like you sit down for hours doing like one part of it, or just like, you know, it's like a really repetitive thing.
I remember like you saying like years ago, it's like that is like meditation.
It's
almost like meditation, because it's all about like focus,
but like open.
You're sort of just like letting yourself go, and like but you're focusing on like one thing.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because to me it's almost like it's like harnessing in one way or another, almost like regardless of what you're using as your outlet at that time, it's like harnessing energy, isn't it? And I think one thing about like all our old friendship group is we were never like bad kids or like bad people, but we were always like naughty. And I think a lot of it was just because we had like a lot of energy, and it's like, you know, you need something almost like productive to put that energy into, don't you? So it's almost like all of us
bad kids. We weren't like nasty kids.
No, we were never like malicious.
It was like always very polite.
Just misunderstood.
Like, you know, and just like you think with parents and that, like just think of our parents, like. Our parents all loved each of us. Do you know what I mean? Like, and it's almost like, you were like, you weren't a little like when you went to your friends' houses, you know, But you just,
but we were really mischievous and had loads of energy. And sometimes if you're not putting that energy into something good, it might sometimes then end up being displayed in a negative way.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? Even just like partying. You can take partying too far. Do you know what I mean? You can get partying. If you've got loads of energy and you're just quite like you're like an excitable, like energetic person, you can get, you really feed off the excitement of the partying and the joy of it, but then that could lead to something potentially bad. And then you're like, oh no. So I think it's like for all of our friendship group, I think it's always been really important to have like an outlet for energy.
And I think
and as you said, and that could be then your meditation.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's like, and then every day, then you can finish the day sort of feeling spent.
And then
so
like
you can go to bed without, you can go to bed happy.
And then when you don't do it, it's like when, like what you were saying earlier, like you start feeling like a little bit like something's wrong or something, or like a bit like weird.
Like, you don't even know what it is. You're just like, why do I feel like
bit,
really like really anxious and really
doon.
weird? a bit doon. I'm a bit doon. I think like we're all like we're all connected in like character as well, because we're the sort of people that like. We know sort of like boundaries and like morals and stuff, but we don't like necessarily, especially if we're letting go, we like don't have like social inhibitions sometimes.
No.
Do you know what I mean? And like, and I think that's what makes it like that character. And I think you can then we do it with like social things sometimes, like being weird. Like with our like when we left like primary school. We just decided, like, on the last day, in tribute to our two teachers, we had a teacher called Mrs. Robinson. So me and Calum stood up and sang Mrs. Robinson.
God bless you, please, Mrs. Robinson.
But we had two teachers. The other teacher was called Mrs. Simpson. So then when we finised that song for her, we just suddenly went, The Simpsons.
but just because there's no lyrics, we just went. And she was almost just like, almost like half appreciative, but half was like, well, that was weird.
And that's like the weirdness that like also we like then channel into.
I think we are definitely just all just really weird. And I said this to Bullwinkle recently, didn't I? Bullwinkle, like I think as well, because I can't remember what I was like, talking about. I can't remember exactly what we were talking about, but I said like. It was a bit like what you were just saying about like how we have like our morals and everything and our manners, but it's almost like that social inhibition thing. Like it almost like in certain regard, when it comes to certain things, like then it's almost like with me and you, there's nothing is too extreme. No, it's almost like the more extreme, the more fun. It's just more funny. It's like the more funny. Do you know what I mean? Like when it comes to like anything like that, it's like where some people. And I think that's probably why we got in trouble as kids, because things that could be shocking to some people, we would just see as hilarious. Like. Like it's hard to think of like an example, but do you know what it happens
and then it's just gone.
Like any like if any sort of like misfortune, I think that's a good thing about being mates though. And I think, do you know what I mean? I think it's like it make you laugh at your own misfortune, but like if your mate is there, like almost like laughing when you like have a misfortune, it makes you take it less seriously yourself. But it's just like hilarious. Do you know what I mean? I was like, if you just like. I don't know, it could be anything, like hurt yourself, get hurt, like get in trouble. It's like, if your mate's there, like, wetting themselves, even if you're like...
Oh, sorry, it's just
even
funny.
Even if you're like, you bastard. Do you know what I mean? You're like, yeah, that's funny.
It's very natural. You see it with, like, parenting, don't you? Where certain parents, if, like, their child falls over, they'll almost be like, oh, no, are you okay? Instantly. Which can almost, like, freak you out a little bit more.
Exactly, you're, like, conditioning them badly,
I feel like if you're just, like, laughing and having fun with the kid after something like that, then they're more likely to sort of have that same reaction.
It's like psychological, isn't it? And I think as well, what we were saying with that stuff before as well, like, it makes you laugh at it, and it also just makes you want to then get your mate back, which then is equally hilarious, because then it just ends up this really never-ending cycle of hilarious incidents. Do you know what I mean? Like, definitely.
Cycle of
and like, every now and again you might take it like a little bit too far, but then obviously you're just like...
it's all in jest.
Exactly. Yeah, that's great. What would you say is your favourite piece of art you've done to date?
That I've done?
Yeah.
I always liked this one I did called Sleepwalker, which is like, I think like you had one on your wall, didn't you?
Yeah, man.
And it's
I
like
think I know which one you're on about.
It's like I say,
like
it's
a
like
moon?
a skeleton. It's like it's like a skeleton with the moon, and it's like holding up like a beacon, and it's got loads of like wind. It's almost like got like every element in it, because there's like sort of like rocks and like ground on the floor.
Yeah,
and then
I remember
got,
saying
waves.
that to you, and you were like, I didn't even think about that. But it was literally like 4 elements. That you like put into the picture. It was so cool.
Everything about it's got like the hatching and the stippling I was saying about, and like. That's like an old one now. Yeah, but that's probably my favourites.
What about it makes it your favourite? Is it just the overall, like, just because of how it looks, or was it like a breakthrough, or you just think that's the best?
I think it was like a breakthrough at the time, and when I still look at it, there's some I look at and I'm like, you know, like you do with like a song you've done or something like that, where you're like, oh, I wouldn't have done that bit now, or I wouldn't have done that bit. But like with that one, whenever I look, I'm still like, I like that. That's cool. I just like everything about it. So.
Yeah, I do love your most recent ones.
The
ones
on
you
got
the
Boatman one's really cool. That's quite a recent one.
Which one's that, man?
Boatman?
Oh yeah.
So cool.
Yeah, the ferryman. Yeah.
Ferryman. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're all really good, man.
Cheers,
yeah, but
man.
do you know what? As I said though, like I think just probably because I've known you so long and stuff like that. But like, do you know what I mean? I'm not really like surprised.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not like, do you know? And it's funny. I think it's just maybe because I've known you so long, or maybe because I feel very aware of what you're capable of. Like sometimes if someone's like, man, that was freaking amazing what Josh did. It's almost like, to me, it's like, yeah, it is good, but I was like, I'm like just not surprised. So to me, it might not seem like I'm as impressed, but it's not because I'm not impressed. It's just because I'm like, well, yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, well, do you know what I mean? It's just like, well, yeah, well, that's just sort of like what I expect from Josh. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
cool.
it's not awesome. It's not that like I'm like not impressed. It's just that I'm like, well, yeah, obviously.
You weren't like full Shania Twain on it or anything.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, just like, well, yeah, obviously. I'd be more aghast if you just like did something that I was a bit like, well, that's a bit rap.
Imagine if you just commented and you was like, that is awful.
Come on, Josh, honestly. What are you doing? This is not up to your standards.
Pick it up.
Yeah, but I think, it's like, and yeah, again, I think we're all like this to an extent, like quite self-critical.
Yeah.
So obviously with that can be almost like a curse in some ways at times, because obviously it's not good to, maybe it's not so good internally to be overly self-critical, but I think in the long run it pays off massively, because if you set the bar high for yourself, you're more likely to do well at things.
Yeah.
Aren't you?
Yeah.
If you're like harsh with yourself and you're always like, that's not good enough, that's not good enough, that's not good enough. Well, for the people that are like too easily satisfied, those people are never going to accomplish anything that great, are they? You might like see things on social media and it's like, and this isn't like to poo-poo anybody, do you know what I mean? But that might be like almost like trying to show off something they've done, and it's like, yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But it's almost like you can almost like see like they're too satisfied with it almost. And I don't mean that to sound horrible, but it's like if you're too satisfied with anything you've done, but then how can you keep pushing the boat?
Yeah, that's
how can
it.
you keep pushing the boat?
I always find like, 'cause like when you were just saying then, like, what's your favourite thing you've done? Like when I think of anything else I've done, I sort of like cringe a little bit. Like, because I'm like, at the time I might finish it and I might be like, oh, that's cool, I got to post that up, or like I got to print that or whatever. But then like as soon as I've done that, like I'll look at it and I'll straight away be like, I got to do something else now, because that's like that's annoying me, like that and that and that and that. Like that's most of the stuff I've ever done, like in terms of like photos or music or like I can't listen to it or look at it because it makes me cringe a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, I definitely feel that as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Have you got anything that you're like working on at the moment?
I did start something the other day actually, just sort of like doodling. So I'm going to see what happens. And I've just finished another design for like Friar Tuck's, like our local.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, like they asked for me to do another T-shirt for them. So for like next year's, for like the 25 T-shirt. So
awesome, man. You've got to do like one a year.
Yeah, man. That'd be cool, wouldn't it?
You are the chicken man.
I am the chicken man. Yeah.
And I was like thinking as well, because it's interesting to me, like thinking about how like your attitude towards music nowadays compared to when we were younger. Because obviously, we were always, I think that's definitely one of the things, along with our love of Mask, Pencil Tops and Jim Carrey in general. Yeah. One of the things that really made us bond like instantly was like our love of music. And as I remember I said this to you like recently, I think it was at my wedding actually, but like it makes me appreciate now I have a 4-year-old, but essentially my daughter was like almost as old as we were when we met. We were quite like strange kids, because we were like bonded over music. And I think it was because there was no other kids in our class, or probably hardly any other kids even in our school, that like would have been like that young and would have randomly like been that into, say, like Queen's entire back catalogue. Yeah. And or take like, that. Yeah, or take that. And obviously that's like we instantly like we would love like singing together, talking about music, singing music. But one thing that's interesting to me that seems like you've changed. And I'd be interested to know like what your thoughts are on this. Like as you've gotten older, so you're like one of your first, or if not your first, like big metal. musical influence to me seems to be like Freddie Mercury.
Yeah.
And obviously you have all those, your mum's got those VHS tapes of you like very campily like prancing around the living room in North Street like this thing stuff like that, which are fantastic, which should definitely be uploaded to YouTube by somebody. But yeah, like you very much always seem to want to be like the front man first and foremost. And then, like later on, when new metal came out, you know, we would do like sing Linkin Park songs. And we'd like take it in turns to do like Chester's bit or Mike Shinoda's bit, depending on the day. And then, obviously, when started, what ended up being Death by Kai, you know, obviously from the get-go, you really just wanted to be the front man, and that was the thing. But the last couple of years, yeah, it's obvious to me that you don't really enjoy singing anymore. Obviously, you've said to me that you hardly ever play guitar. Like, well, you haven't played guitar in 2 years or whatever, which doesn't seem so weird to me because, like, I mean, I barely ever play guitar as well, so I completely get that. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like, well, if you haven't got a reason to, why are you almost going to do it? You have to have some sort of, like, spark. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And as I said to you earlier, if there's, like, a reason for me to play the guitar, like when we were getting ready for Darcy's wedding, well, then I'll play. But, like, if not, it's almost like... You know,
unless you just pick it up for a little like strum.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
If you get the chance to for like 5 minutes,
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, I had that little bit of like spark of inspiration recently about writing that song called Paraceratherium.
Oh yeah.
So I will do that, and it's cool that Joe wants to do it as well because we'll go and do like record that and stuff. But like other than that, where was I going with this? Right, yeah. So what I was going to say is that you always seem super enthusiastic about playing the drums.
Yeah.
Right, don't you?
Yeah, yeah.
You just seem to like love playing the drums. Like whenever anything's brought up, you're always like, I want to play the drums. I'll do the drums. And like you seem like, you know, like happy to play like guitar and stuff as well. But why is your attitude towards being like a frontman obviously sings?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why is your attitude towards that changed and why? Because you used to love singing. You used to love singing just as much as I love singing, whereas nowadays you don't seem to like singing.
No, I don't really. I don't know.
Do you think it's like... Is it like you genuinely just have gone off it, or do you think it's like years of being a metal vocalist have damaged your vocal cords?
I definitely think it I struggled with my voice like for years. I'd always have a bad throat when for any gigs and stuff. I'd always have a bad throat. I don't think I ever was really that into it. In a singing point of view, it was more of like a control and being at the front sort of like. And I don't know, maybe that's because of what influenced me growing up. Like I felt like I needed to be like doing what I was growing up seeing. You got like oldest sibling syndrome. Maybe that as well.
In the same way you would like always get Jake to dress up as someone,
a drummer or a
and
bassist,
then you'd have to be like the front man.
Yeah, like maybe it's
you were always like that.
Maybe it's partly that as well. Yeah, I've never really been like in any music at all, really, like talking about singing or like instruments and stuff. I've never really felt like an actual proper musician or something. It's more like I just love music, and like I almost like really like I used to like the thing about the band I used to like love was like obviously playing live, because then you're like, it doesn't matter what you're doing, like you're like just feeling the energy, like, and it's not about like being like technical, or it's not about like being like the best guitarist or the best singer or anything like that. And I'm not really like a jam sort of jam musician either. Like I don't really like so much like getting into a room and like sort of working things out and seeing how it feels. Like I treat it almost like how I do like art. Like I like to sit at home and like solace and like come up with a big idea and then like relay it out to how it is in my head, and almost like dictate it. And almost because of that dictation, maybe it just felt natural to be like and obviously I'm going to front it because I'm like already dictating it. So like, do you know what I mean? Like I've got the idea in my head, and so I might as well do it because it's in my head. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, sure, man.
Whereas I've never really sort of felt like, like it was almost like, even being like a singer in a band, I felt like it was almost like I could only ever do that when I got like my three best mates with making all the music, with, you know, it's almost like a safety like net, like right, I'll go out and do it like that. But I could never, you know, like you're really good at like just like singing in front of people, whereas I like hate that. Like I can't do that at all. Like I feel really weird about it. I remember like being like younger and like going to like a holiday place like Haven or Butlins or something, and like Jake getting up and like singing. But I remember Jake was like, and Josh needs to come. This is my brother Josh, and he's going to come up as well. And I was only like 11, and the whole room were just like, get up. And I just remember being like, no. So it's not like I was like really into it when I was like 11 or anything like that. Like, because even back then, like, yeah, that was like really weird to me.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? But it's like strange because you did obviously like I say we used to sing together a lot.
I mean, like singing together, like like we've done it today and stuff. Like in that way, like I still really enjoy it, and I've always like really enjoyed it like that. But I feel like it's more like a.
It's funny how like different people can look at things, isn't it? Because the way I almost like see it is like obviously like music is all the same, right? So like music is just music. And instruments are obviously just tools to create music. Yeah. And like vocals are like an instrument. Yeah, yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's like the one that you are born with. Yeah. And for me, it's probably the one I feel most comfortable with. Yeah. Personally. So in that regard, you like saying that you don't feel you wouldn't feel as comfortable singing in public. Well, I just think the instrument you're going to feel most comfortable with is the one you feel most. Well, yeah, it's the one that you're most comfortable with. Do you know what I mean? So it's like for Drew that would be. I'll be playing guitar. Whether that's lead on electric or is more like Tommy Emmanuel stuff,
which has scarred me for life.
Just got everyone has those moments, man. Yeah, it's when you get put on the spot. But so it's almost like, and as I was saying to you earlier on about guitaring, like for me, like don't get me wrong, I really like guitaring, and I love guitars, like everything about guitars. I like even like I like even looking into like the difference between what the sound is with like a mahogany or a Sitka spruce, or I find it interesting to like watch a video on the difference between single coil and like humbuckers. You know what I mean? It's like I love guitars and I love guitaring. But like I don't even really see myself as like a guitarist per se. I see it as like something that I need to be good at enough that otherwise I'm just one of those people that like like some singers, you'll see them and it's like without their band they're almost like nothing. Without their band they're just somebody that can sing that, but they completely rely on their band. But the moment you can play another instrument, whether it's piano or guitar,
you can accompany yourself.
You're almost like an act then. Do you know what I mean? You're almost like you're ready. You're almost like ready to like record something in itself. So I think that's what I like about it. I don't want to just be like one person almost like playing like a backing track and then just like singing over it. Like, that's almost like to me seems a bit like weird enough. So it's like if you can play guitar enough that I could like actually play and sing a song, then that's almost cool to me. So that's it's just interesting.
I feel like the only thing that I've ever like sort of naturally felt like gravitating towards musically is drums. Which is weird because I've never actually really done it.
You're so natural.
And like I think you're so rhythmic.
If I like got behind drums now, I'm not like trying to say that I'd suddenly be like really good, but like I feel like if I'd gone into drums, I reckon like I would be a lot better at drums than I am at like guitar or whatever like that.
I think that was the natural instrument, even though you've never like had it as the instrument, because it's hard to, isn't it, to get like unless you get like a hard to. It's very hard to do that.
It's so hard right now.
Unless you get like an electric drum kit, but they were like super expensive. To get, like, a real decent
so you just never could.
Yeah,
but so like if I listen to music, I never never listen to the guitar. I always listen to the drums.
I always remember like in the car when we'd be listening to stuff, you'd always.
I'm always air drumming. Claire's always annoyed when I'm driving now. I'm always like air drumming on the steering wheel and like. And stuff like that, and even like with our songs, there were like a lot of our songs, like the parts that I'd written that I wrote on the drums first, and then I added guitar to it.
That's mad.
And that would always change the sound of the song so much. And I think in DBK as well, like where this thing like with the front man, it's almost like we always felt like we were like super like delivering an energy with the band. So it was like it was about what we were playing, but like the energy that we were like creating at the time, and like the way that you deliver that, it's like the front man is like the almost like the epitome of that. So like what you're saying about like controlling it and stuff, it was like you if someone else was there singing it, they wouldn't be harnessing the energy in the same way as like you had your thought.
Like I almost felt like I had to be at the front.
It was like the most natural thing or something, but it was like, right, if I want this band to sound like this, I've got to make it sound like this. Like, but and that was like the vocals are a part of that.
I think that's why like I always like really love like Dave Grohl and stuff like that, because I've always like seen him as like this really kick-ass drummer, like really amazing drummer with loads of energy, but then like he just gets up and like fronts the Foo Fighters because it's like that's like he started as a drummer for it as well, didn't he? He drummed. But then when he's on stage,
the first album he recorded every instrument. Which is yet again that's very almost like something I could imagine you doing. Because you'd have the ability to do it. That's what I mean. Do you know what I mean? You'd have the ability to do it. But I guess in that regard as well, like if you think about Dave Grohl, like he's not like, even though he's a good singer, but he's not like you don't put him in the same category as almost
he's
like a
more natural on drums than he is at singing.
You don't think like he's not known for his like got like breathtaking vocals, but it's more just like you're just more like in awe of his overall talent.
Yeah, and I used to like always relate when I'd watch live Foo Fighters shows because his like voice just constantly breaks, doesn't it? Have you ever seen like a Foo Fighters gig and it's like by like the third song it just feels like his voice is like broken, but he's like pushing it, and that's how I always used to feel a bit like my voice was just always like broken and like instantly. Yeah. And yeah, I
was gonna say like another thing that I think is like a really interesting takeaway, man, and I've like thought about this. I've thought this, for like a long time now. I can't remember when it almost like dawned on me. I think I've said it to you before, and I think you've just agreed. But one thing I think is interesting about us as well is that because obviously our lives have run parallel to each other for such a long time. It's funny because in some ways we are like so similar, but at the same time I feel like we're almost like polar opposites.
Yeah.
So it's like we've always been into the same stuff, but it's almost like. In some regards, we have almost like the completely opposite, like almost like opinion of different things. Well, not necessarily opinion, almost a way of looking at things, maybe. So it could be like an opinion. It could be like we love the same show, but the characters that we like the most are completely different.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's Star Wars, Dragon Ball Z, like whatever it would be.
Yeah.
But even like the way, like with music, like you being like so rhythmic, like to me, that's like probably my biggest weakness. Like,
Really?
and it's like. And even to the point where it's like I don't even really care about it.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Like obviously it is so important, and yet again a bit like what we were saying about like technique in general. Like it's just one of those things, isn't it? It's like if you have it, obviously it's way better than if you don't have it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's really important, especially like if you want to play with other people and things like that. But yeah, it's so interesting how almost like clinically rhythmic you are, and that's why you were such a good rhythm guitarist and such a good drummer, and that's the way you look at music. Whereas to me, I think in that regard, I'm almost like a bit sloppy. But that gives it like the freedom of like your style,
the grunginess.
Yeah. It's almost like for me, it's almost just like pure feel. And then if it's a bit like out of time, I don't really care as long as I guess the overall feel is there.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? And it's like as long as like more like how I'm like more focused on like how is the feel of it overall,
and like the melodies and stuff.
And like as long as I think that like the vocals are half decent and it's been delivered in like a sincere way. Because like for me, I think that's something that's really important about music is that it comes across as sincere. Because I think at the end of the day, no pun intended, trying to strike a chord with somebody, and to do that, like it's probably the best way to do it isn't necessarily in almost like a mathematical way. It's like in a way of like hitting somebody in the feels. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
And so I don't know, but it's just interesting, isn't it? It's just interesting how different people's brains are wired and how you can be like so similar. And stuff like that, and love like the same thing, but just naturally have
like a different side of it.
But I think it's again though why it's really important, isn't it, just to have like different people around you and stuff, because different people can like you know what I mean, like sharpen certain areas that are weaknesses of yours, and vice versa. You know,
it would be boring if we were all the same.
Yeah, exactly.
They say, don't they, that you're the sum of your like 5 closest friends. Or something like that.
Oh yeah, like you are the company you keep as well.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, no, I definitely think it's important who you spend time with, isn't it? And I think if you spend time with like a load of bums, you're probably going to be a bum.
And eventually, like, when you're getting like the older you get as well, like the smaller. That
it's like you sort of like start sieving out like anything that doesn't matter.
Sieving out all the bums.
Yeah, all the bums.
Man, when you think of how many like millions of people there are in the world, it is literally like, it feels like my world is actually very small.
Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, but I think part of that is growing up, isn't it? I think it's just like, when you're in school, I feel like you have loads and loads of friends as well as then like your close friendship group. But a lot of that is I guess just because you're exposed to like 1,000 kids in school.
Yeah.
But then, obviously, also it's like a time thing. You don't have as much time when you're older, is it? So it's like if you are going to give somebody your time,
for, like,
do you think it's like a tribe thing as well, like where it's ingrained into us to like like where you would like rely on your tribe and you'd like kind of like have more of a small knit community. Like I feel quite like that. Like it just feels like more natural rather than like I don't want to go out socialising with like loads of people and stuff.
Maybe you just sort of naturally sort of think like, will that person work? Like for me, like have we got enough in common? And if not, like in a tribe, like what are they gonna bring to your group?
Outsider. Get on.
Oh man, definitely. I also I feel like that very much, and I can tell that some people don't get it recently. It's like it's like I think the last time I saw Chris Reddam, like shout out Chris, obviously really good radio presenter on AW Radio. But he was like, oh yeah, Calum, if you want to like go for a pint on a Friday, like after work, then that would be great. But it's like
it's not right. We really want to do. Like go for random pints.
It's like on Friday when I get home, I work out.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm not gonna not work out. Do you know what I mean? So it's like
ritual, man.
So like that's like for me, that's like just like something I do, and it's like, don't get me wrong, I love drinking pints as much as pretty much anybody you find, but at the same time, it's almost like I know that working out is so much better for me mentally and physically, and also to me, I don't know if you guys feel about this, but to me, it's almost like I've made a commitment to myself. I don't know if you see your art like this or anything like that, but it's like, well, I've made a commitment to myself. So I'm not going to break that commitment.
I can't ever keep any commitments to myself. That is the problem with my personality. It's like I try to. I'm like, I'm going to make some commitments. I'm going to stick to them. But it's like, nope.
I don't even feel like...
I think it's like Radagast the Brown thing you got yourself.
Yeah.
If we were like Wizards and Lord of the Rings, you'd definitely be Radagast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even feel like it's like... For like what you were saying, like with the gym and like with art for me and stuff, don't even feel like I'm making a commitment. It just feels like
natural.
I just feel like if I don't, I've just got like guilt.
Yeah.
If I'm not, like,
well, yeah, that's the same thing. That I would feel guilt.
Yeah.
I would got no guilt.
I would feel guilt.
I need some guilt.
That's the thing. Like that's like. It's like I can tell when people would be like surprised, like, well, what? You'd rather just like go for a workout, but can't you just like work out tomorrow? And it's like, no, like I work out
Sharpening
today.
the sword, man.
I wouldn't be able to enjoy myself with insert whoever if I then went out, because what I'd be thinking of the whole time, and this might seem even extreme to some people, but it's just the way it is. I would be thinking that, as you said, almost like guilt, like I should be working out right now.
Yeah,
I should be at home working out, and instead I'm spending money on doing something which is on
worse
paper
for you.
bad for me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And as much as I think that, you should have balance in life, and you should party and you should have that fun, it needs to be a time when it's worth it, and I'm not willing to make those like sacrifices of doing something that I'm A, committed to, and A, makes me feel freaking really awesome that I love. Do you know what I mean? Like to me, a bit like how cathartic art is with you, like to me, like going in the gym, putting on my favourite music, and like working out really hard, like to me that does me so much good. Earlier on we were talking about energy, man, like in terms of like a release of energy, to release that amount of energy, do you know what I mean, like in like a physical way, while listening to something that's so like beautiful to me as music, and almost like having that fuel me. To me, that is so like addictive. But then knowing that it's good for me mentally and physically,
and then
it's
it
almost
gives
like,
you energy after as well. Like even though you're like tired after, like the day after, it's like,
and it becomes part of who you are. The same way that like Josh is like known for his art. Like it's hard, obviously, to self analyze, isn't it? But like just to say, people come up to me and they're like, "Oh man, I saw that thing that you put up on Instagram." And it's like, that's really hard, man. That's freaking cool. Like what? And then they'll start asking you questions like, "Oh, so how did you do that? Or what's your approach to that? Or how did you train for that? Or what did you like eat for that?" And it's like, it's cool that like somebody that's dipped their toes in that water is almost like, it thinks that's cool.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? The same way as I'm sure it's cool for you when somebody's like that about art or anything that you do, you know? Or photography as well.
Yeah.
I think drinking is like a good example of your dedication though. Like, not that you ever had a drinking problem or anything, but one day you just decided, like, I'm going to be teetotal for a bit. And you've just been teetotal for like how long now? I like to set myself
like little challenges every now and then. Do you know what I mean? Randomly, almost just like as a test of willpower. It's almost just like I just want to like train, keep like you said, like sharpen your blade,
sharpen the axe.
Sharpen the axe. Almost just like, right, this year that's my mission. And if I don't do it now, like I've got so far, like it just seems bad not to. Do you know what I mean?
So hard, and got so far.
In the end,
does it even matter?
Does it? No, probably not.
But no, I think 100% right. And also, I think if you broke that.
It's only you're
and
it's
also
like a self-respect thing.
You're sending a really bad signal to yourself and the rest of the world
as
like somebody that can't follow through on something that you've set out to do, which is really bad. Whereas if you do, not only is it self-respect for yourself, you're building confidence for yourself, and you're showing almost like to the world that you're somebody that can do something you've set your mind to. Which is so important, isn't it?
Yeah.
Such a little thing to do, like such a cool little thing to do.
Yeah, definitely, man. Yeah, because it's like it is a bit hard, like when everyone's like drinking and you're just like.
But that's why I said to you, man, I know we were like chatting a little bit by message after like my wedding. Obviously, like there's nothing more I'd have liked to would have been like, getting you in on it too. And like, be like, "Oh, come on, Josh, man, you've almost made it a year." But like, even when I was drunk, it didn't even cross my mind,
man,
because there was that little thing, like, I respect like the dedication and the willpower it takes to do that. And there are so many people in life that are like, I'm going to do this. And then you're like, no, you're not. So,
Yeah,
like, if
man.
somebody is doing it, you want to be supportive
Yeah,
of it.
man.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like, as much as I would have liked to have been like, come on, Josh, let's have some pints. Come on. No, come on, Josh. I think you never want to be that almost like douchey mate.
Yeah,
That's
man.
like trying to almost like make their mate not do something good.
Yeah,
like, no,
yeah.
you should be like getting your mate to do something freaking cool. Get them to do something good. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
man.
like respect
and
that.
there's like nothing like sort of like high and mighty about it. Do you know what I mean? Like
No.
it's just
Just a choice.
It's just like a little like fun little challenge I just decided to do.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, man. Freaking cool.
Testament to the willpower, baby.
Yeah,
Testament.
baby.
That makes
to
me
the
feel really
willpower.
guilty for when, I was saying I was doing Sober November. And then
Oh,
on
yeah.
like the final day, I was like, man, everyone's going out. I kind of got a drink. And now I'm sat there like, oh.
One thing I will say in your defence, though, Bullwinkle, is I think that you are so young
Yeah.
that you're at the age where you should
You
should probably just be like, screw it,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
a party.
Yeah, that's it
'Cause
exactly.
None of us would have done anything like that when we were
No,
Yeah.
definitely not. Definitely not.
I had a
man.
pretty cheap month, and it got to the end.
Yeah.
I had a little celebration for,
blowout,
for
yeah.
how much I'd saved. Yeah, not bad, not bad.
Yeah, man.
That's
I think it's like something. The older you get, like little things like that probably become a little bit more important to you,
Yeah.
Mm.
don't they? But I
Just
think
to keep you entertained.
I think when you're 21, I think you should just be partying.
Yeah.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? Because you've definitely got a good balance. I think you got a good head on you, man. You got a good head on you. Just enjoy your partying. You know, there's
Thank you,
time.
man.
There's time to be. There's time to be pious further on down the line.
Yes.
Mm.
Not today is not that day.
No.
Today is the day to drink, my friend.
Yes.
Right, we're going to listen to a song a minute because I really need a wee. When we come back, we'll chat a bit more to Zeus and might play a little live song for you all.
Oh, maybe.
Oh, baby.
Welcome back, folks. Listen to Pandora's Box with yours truly, Drew Bag, Bullwinkle, and our guest for today, Mr. Zeus the Gold.
Good evening.
Yeah, man. It's nice having a guest as well. I mean, it's amazing. All the guests we have in Pandora's Box, it's like so cool to have them on, and they're so like from so many different walks of life, and everyone I feel like really like honoured and humbled that they've like taken the time to come on. But it's really nice having somebody that we like know so well because it's almost like it's the same amount of fun, but without almost like any pressure. Because when you're talking to somebody like, do you know what I mean? We've had like the privilege of literally speaking to like Team GB, like Olympic athletes, and like special forces legends, and like some like really big up and coming musicians, and like really like doctors, and like some really really cool guests. And it's cool having like a guest which is like interesting to talk to, but at the same time you just know really well because it's like it's like takes the pressure off, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
I can't believe it's taken this long.
No,
I know.
Yeah.
I know it's one of those things that it's almost like it's been back in my mind for ages. Like at some point, obviously, I'll ask Josh to come on. But you know how it's like, or at least this is what it seems in my life. Like anyway, it's like then next week goes by, and
Yeah.
then, and then
definitely.
you realise that a year's gone by.
Yeah.
and then it's like, yeah. So
Like we've been talking
fine.
about like having a jam like with the band for like another like year and a half. That might even be 2
Mate,
years now.
Really?
Yeah, but like we're always
Wow.
we should
Yeah,
definitely
we should-
sort
let's
that.
yeah,
make
because
and then we
Nicky-
don't.
didn't Nicky see like
Yeah, he said-
message?
Yeah,
How
that
long
was
ago
this
was
year.
that?
That was this year.
That was this year,
That was
yeah.
earlier this year. And that was like, I mean,
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, we
still.
were thinking, oh, in the next couple of weeks, it's just book it and then it's done. And,
Yeah.
But that's like almost a year ago.
That's crazy.
Crazy.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, just to give people a little sneak peek of you guys back in action, should we attempt to play a little live song?
yeah.
On there, should we
Let's
do it?
do it.
So
Let's do it.
obviously
I will
one of
go to my
Josh's
station.
well, actually no, Josh's
Your station.
favourite band of all time, Linkin Park, I believe,
Arguably.
arguably. Who would you say like? Yeah, I mean, all right, I mean Queen, Linkin Park.
Metallica.
I'd say
Not
my
Metallica.
top three are Queen, Linkin Park, and Metallica.
Oh, would you?
Yeah,
There you go.
and then
we all
I
did one each.
and then I'd say that the next two are Trivium and Testament.
Right.
I'm gonna say.
Good
Yeah,
mix.
That's my top
That's
five.
nice. That's a nice, well-rounded mix.
Yeah.
I have to say, I've been like, I was talking to Drew about this recently. I've had like a revitalized appreciation for Queen recently.
Oh,
I think
nice,
Queen
man.
are like such a massive band. I would put Metallica in this category as well, but I just listen to Metallica a lot more. They're so big and they're so successful. It's almost like easy to take them for granted. a
Yeah,
bit,
definitely.
because it's almost like you hear them so much in the background, whether it be like on the radio, you hear them talked about, you're like, oh yeah, they're great. But there's so much more other music out there that I'm sort of concentrating on, or I want to hear, or I'm looking for like new band stuff. But like recently, I was like just looking into Queen and stuff, and I was like listening to some stuff off Queen too, and I was like, do you know what? Queen are freaking amazing.
Yeah, just so good.
And like even the way that like on Queen 2, it's like they've got like obviously usually it's like side A or side B, whatever, but it's like the white side and the black side.
Yeah.
And the white side is more like songs that are a bit more like emotional and stuff, and like and then the black side is basically they wrote it because they were like fantasy nerds.
Yeah, like proggy sort of.
Yeah, like because they were reading like fantasy novels and they literally what is it like that song like Ogre Battle?
Yeah,
it's
Ogre
like
Battle.
so
Yeah.
cool, so cool. I'm like that just instantly strikes a chord with me. Like,
Oh,
obviously.
like the Prophet song on what's the Night of the Opera? The
I
Prophet
can't remember how that goes off. In my head.
It's got like in the middle of it, it's like a massive breakdown of just like a vocal solo. I'm not going to try and recreate the solo, the vocal solo, because it's insane. But if you listen back to it now, it sounds mental, and he did it all live in the studio.
Whoa.
It's just got loads of delays, and then like as he's singing, he keeps harmonising with the delays, and then it builds up and up and up, and he's just all like ad-libbing it, and it's all like improvised. And
That's so cool.
if you listen to it, it's so impressive,
That
and it
is
sounds
cool.
really metal as well. Like the beginning of the song is like quite like I think it might be in
Yeah.
drop D or something.
Nice.
Yeah, man.
I always think as well, Brian May like seems like such an interesting character. The fact that he made that guitar
Yeah.
with his dad and stuff out of an old like mantelpiece, like piece of wood, and
Yeah.
and just he was like an astrophysicist. Or
Yeah,
something,
yeah,
wasn't
he's just
he,
like
as well?
yeah.
So he's like super intelligent and like amazing guitarist. Plays with a penny. I think he'd be a really great person to like speak to on the pod or like have like a whiskey with or something and just chat about crazy stuff.
I always think there's different ways that people can be impressive, can't there? And there's lots of very good musicians in the world, and that in itself is so impressive. But there are certain musicians that are like so unique, they're like inimitable, aren't they? And there's only like a handful I can think of, probably personally myself, just off the top of my head anyway, that I would put in that category. But the ones that always like first come to mind anyway are like Freddie Mercury and Kate Bush.
Yeah,
I
like
always
completely unique.
Like who in the world could sounds like them?
Yeah.
And like nobody ever could.
No.
And it's not even like a talent thing. It's not like it's like it's a combination of everything.
Yeah.
Just the way that they were born and their voices sound, and then combined that with their talent, and then the way that they write their songs, which is like so unique and different from anybody else that has ever lived. And then you put all of those ingredients together, and that the package that those two artists both like bring to the table, to me, are like insane. I'm like, that's so impressive.
And it's so weird, like
impressive.
you know that there's just like a universal respect for those two artists because no one's ever even tried to recreate them.
No,
even
you
like
couldn't.
Even
You
no,
couldn't.
no, like even like with like Queen going around with Adam Lambert. He's always said, I'm not here to like try and recreate this. Like I'm not about that at all. It's just about like being someone to do the vocals while they're touring or whatever. Like
It was cool seeing him with Paul Rogers. Like,
Yeah.
that was pretty. He had like quite a powerful
Oh,
voice
yeah, I
for
can
it,
imagine,
but,
yeah.
like, did it in a bit of a different way. Like,
yeah.
yeah, that was cool.
But yeah, no one and Kate Bush. Like, who's ever tried to? There's not another artist where you think, oh yeah, they're like, you
Yeah.
can tell they're trying to be like Kate Bush. They're not even
Yeah.
trying.
Man, I think Kate Bush is freaking amazing.
I need to get into it. Like, I love that running up that hill thing when I saw it on Stranger Things,
Yeah.
and it was just like, this is cool. This is an amazing song, like beautiful song and stuff.
Some of
but
her
I've never
songs,
really
yeah.
listened to it that
What's
much.
the album called? Like Claire's going to be listening to this and she's going to be really annoyed that I can't think of it. But what's the album with what's the like really?
Cloud busting.
It looks almost like a sort of Asian, like Japanese sort of cover.
Something about shoes, red shoes, something.
It's got like the really big. It's me, I'm Kathy. I come home.
Let me look at that.
But it's such a cool album.
Kate Bush albums. I swear it's something about red shoes, isn't it?
That does sound familiar, but
Isn't
I
that
bet
song?
I'm
There's
wrong
a song
now.
about
I bet
Red
I'm
Shoes
wrong.
as well.
The Kick Inside.
Yeah, the Kick
Inside.
Inside,
That's
yeah,
the one you're on
that's
about,
it,
isn't it?
yeah, the
Has
Kick
that got a
Inside.
song then called Red Shoes then?
Yeah, I've heard there's definitely a Red Shoes
No,
song.
it doesn't. It's got no, it hasn't. I'm just completely wrong about everything in life.
There is a Kate Bush song about red shoes, though. I know there is because I've played it on your old man show.
Yeah.
Blood Red Shoes. Blood Red Shoes is a band, isn't it?
Oh, I thought there was.
I don't know why I thought that. I mean, yeah, maybe it is on an album. Obviously, Hounds of Love is so.
That's like the 1985
that's,
album with the breathing.
also-
Is it called The Breathing?
Yeah, again, just goes to show how wrong I was. I said Cloud Busting, but that's a song on Hounds of Love. So I bet Claire and probably my mum and anybody else that's actually a real big fan is like, loser. Imagine that. That'd be like us. This is like some guy talking about Metallica.
Name 3 songs.
Yeah, I love that. I love that album, Battery.
Like you instantly saying that has made me like, yes, that's horrible.
Yeah, Calum, you are a loser. Yeah,
You're a woozer.
you are a woozer, mate. You're woozer. I tell you what, though,
Big fat woozer.
my favourite Kate Bush song, Under Ice. You know that one? and it's like really, it's like almost like a bit creepy, and it's almost like
nice.
it's almost like you imagine this like weird like creature like under the water, and it's like really, it's like this weird like eerie creepy song. It only goes on for 2 minutes 22, but to me it's like one of those songs that it's so short but it's so good that it, do you ever like listen to a song and you're like, oh no, there is an album by Kate Bush called The Red Shoes, 1993. There you go. But yeah, I almost like wish it was like 5 minutes long, even though because it's only 2 minutes long. So I just end up listening to it about
twice.
Yeah, I usually listen to it like 2 or 3 times
that's
over.
Smart, that is. Just,
I mean, I'm like a mathematician.
there's a 2.5 minute long song, and I always wish it was 5 minutes.
So I listen to it about twice, and then that's 4 minutes 44, mate.
Oh, right, is it? Oh, so you need to listen to a little bit of it.
And then the first 16 seconds
of it, yeah.
of it again.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then I'm done.
Yeah, and then you're sorted. Yeah.
I can,
got
I can move on, yeah. But yeah, I always think that song is like, but yeah, just talking about like Kate Bush, like, yeah, because I guess like, you know, a lot of her hits are considered like pop hits, but some of them are mental. And
Yeah,
I think,
like some are like proper rocky, like proggy sort of stuff, aren't they?
and I think as well, if you're a bit of a weirdo, like we are, and also you've got a bit of a dark side to you,
Evil side.
then like her music will really like resonate with you. Because I listen to some of that stuff and I'm like, that is like some weird dark stuff.
Yeah.
That is like ingeniously imaginative, but it's weird and dark. Like really,
It's so visual as
weird.
well, isn't it?
Yeah, Under Ice, and obviously like
Trapped.
Waking the Witch is the same as that, just like really dark
Yeah.
and weird. Waking the Witch, Under Ice, I love those.
I'm
two
never
tracks.
going to claim to sort of like know too much about it, but obviously like I've just like had it around me, like with Claire, like because she listens to it loads, so like
I like grew up listening to it because I was one of my mum's favourite artists. So
Yeah.
I had it on in the background all the time, and it's one of those things. Yeah, it's like I wouldn't necessarily put her like obviously in my top 10 artists myself or anything like that, but I have so much
mad
like,
respect.
yeah, mad love and respect almost.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? I like definitely would like worship at the altar of Kate Bush, even if I don't really listen to her on my spare time that much. Apart from every now and again Under Ice, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
That's like pretty much the only one. Like every now and again I might listen to Under Ice, but usually when I do, I'll then go through like an Under Ice stage and I'll listen to it like a lot that week.
Nice.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll scratch the itch. I'll move on.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll come back a couple of years later.
Put it
You
on
know.
ice.
I really like yeah exactly. The Sensual World, the song off the album, The Sensual World, that's good.
Oh yeah, nice.
That's quite sensual as well. You are entering the sensual world.
Oh yeah.
That's another thing about her tracks. I feel like they are very what's the word I'm looking for?
Erotic.
That wasn't the word I was looking for.
Sensual?
No, Josh, can you help me? You know,
Well described.
no, like when a song sounds exactly like
Onomatopoeic.
a bit like onomatopoeic. Like it's like when a song sounds exactly like what it's described, like its title. Do you know what I mean? It's like
Oh, I see.
so like the
What,
I don't think
very
there's a
literal?
so
word
like the
for that, but it's
sensual
cool.
world. You listen to the song and it sounds like you are entering sensual world just by listening.
Oh,
to
immersive.
Immersive.
Yeah, like immersive. I don't think that's the word I was looking for, but we'll go with that. We'll
Yeah,
go with
alright,
that.
cool.
That's good enough.
Onomatopoeic and immersive.
Yeah,
Paint a
something like
picture.
that. Yeah, something like that.
There,
Something like
there
that.
must be a word for it, or there needs to be a new word for it.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll remember randomly when I'm going to bed tonight.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Don't you always like feel like that? You feel like, you know, whenever you're like could never quite show your true self to people because when you're in the moment, you just mess up. It's a bit like playing a song live compared to when you're on your own.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Definitely, yeah.
You play the song really good on your own. Red light syndrome.
Oh,
Hits.
don't
don't
say
know
it. This
that.
is what's going to happen now.
No, it won't. No, it won't. No, it won't. No, it won't. And
No,
it
we have
does.
strength in numbers.
Yeah, that's
when
true.
it's when you're completely on your
Yeah.
own, that's when I freeze. I'm like what you said about like singing in front of people. Yeah.
Oh,
It's like
yeah,
the other
man.
day, I was like, when I was in the studio with Calum, we had it all plugged in. We did a
When
bit of
we
a
had our
sound
great
check.
last guest, Saint Fian, in.
And,
Go
yeah,
watch that episode if you
I've
haven't
been
seen
like
it.
learning this thing, and it's like a bit complicated, but you know, but it's not really. But it's just like
It's a beautiful
classical
folk piece,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, folky classical
yeah.
thing. So it's quite finger picky in that,
Yeah,
and like, I've
yeah.
been practicing it, and like I'm like, oh yeah, I can bet. And I was like playing it, like Calum listened to it on headphones. It sounded like real cool and that. And then Calum was like, oh yeah, just play that, show him what you were just doing and everything. And I just literally just couldn't play it.
It
Just,
was my
just
fault.
messing
It's my
up.
fault. I put him on the spot.
And I was like, but then it like really annoyed me after because like
Ah.
their impression of me then is just like, oh,
That
this guy
one
just
thing.
like didn't even know.
Yeah,
how to
but they,
play guitar,
mate, they
like-
know who you are. They know
I
you're a
know,
really good musician.
but do you know what I mean? But that defines you in that moment.
It was really
And then
funny
it's,
at my
like,
wedding
really
because
annoying.
they said at first, for like the first like hour or two they were there, they were thinking, who is this mega wrecked guy? Because like obviously he like almost knocked over their speakers at one point. And then like during their like break, he was like randomly went up to the table and he was like singing into the microphone for ages, even though it wasn't turned on and everything like this, like giving everyone a show. And then they suddenly just apparently realised, like, is that Drew back? And then obviously where they've just around the local music scene, they just suddenly just twigged, like, oh yeah, that's Drew back. So they know who you are. They know you're a really good musician. So I wouldn't worry about it, man.
Yeah.
That's good.
Red light syndrome.
I remember like hearing about, like, funny enough, you saying about like Freddie Mercury. He used to say that he always, like, I read in a book that he always used to get anxiety about, like, you know, do you know, like on Bohemian Rhapsody, like when, like near the end when there's suddenly like this massive like piano run, and it's like octaves and it's like dun 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 dun, like that sort of thing. He used to get like anxiety about it every show about the thought of getting that wrong, and like so even someone that's like as a genius
with all the
as Freddie
octaves,
Mercury,
does it in octaves, doesn't he?
Used to, like every time he would be like, oh, I'm gonna ruin this one. I'm gonna ruin this one.
I read that like an interview with James Hetfield recently as well, and he said that like every time before he plays, he gets like super nervous.
Yeah,
and I thought, mate, it makes you feel better about yourself, doesn't it? 'Cause you just think like, what if James Hetfield feels like that? Like, how many gigs do you reckon James Hetfield's playing in his life?
Oh, God.
Thousands and thousands.
I think if you don't get nervous, then that's like saying worse about you.
Yeah, I think
Do you know what I mean? Like, because it's like you're getting nervous because of how much like you care, like is on you, and this is like, and you're only as good as your last.
It means
gig
something,
or as your last thing you've done. Do you know what I mean? So you're almost judging yourself on the last thing you've done.
Definitely, man, and I think it's like I think as long as you're not letting yourself get too paralysed by that, you know,
that's
the key.
Paralysed by fear.
That's the key. As long as you're not too paralysed by that.
Don't paralyse yourself.
Because it's like, it's every time you do anything like that, don't you? Like when we were, over in Deal, like playing on the radio, and you know it's going out live, or just like playing a gig. There's always that element of like, oh crap! Like, am I going to mess up now? But I think you've just almost got to try and flick this switch, haven't you? That like, A, no, you're not going to mess up, and then B, if you do mess up, doesn't really matter.
Keep going.
It matters
rolling, baby.
The amount of times I've seen you guys live as Death by Kai, and then I think it was a really good set, and then I'd go up to you afterwards, Josh, and be like, "How was that, man? That was freaking awesome." And you'd be like, "That was crap, messed up," and I'd be like, "What are you on about?" Do you know what I mean? But it's like, if you're playing every note that you mess up or anything that goes on, you're like, "Oh, that's it, that's ruined the song." But to the people that are just getting the general vibe, they don't even notice. No. It's not that they don't care; they don't notice.
Yeah.
They don't notice.
That's it. Our shows anyway.
That's it.
Wait, is this loud enough?
Where's that reverb gone, baby?
Turn up the reverb, Bullwinkle.
Oh,
yeah.
Now we're in a cavern.
That's you jamming.
Right, I think I'm ready.
Mic check 1, 2.
Mic check. My left check.
My left bum cheek.
My left bum cheek.
Sorry, Luke Palmer.
Shout out.
Shout out, Luke Palmer. We love Luke Palmer.
Yeah. Is he a friend of the pod?
Of course he's a friend of the pod. Of course he is. Me and Luke had many a battle back in the day.
Yeah.
Obviously, him being very, very small and skinny, and me being very large and fat. So we were opposite ends of the spectrum, but I think
he's a big lad.
Yeah, he's a great guy. I have a lot of love for Luke, and it's just like contemporaries.
Do you know what? When I last saw Luke afterwards, I felt so happy.
Yeah, I always feel like that.
Do you know what? I felt like I actually said to Claire, do you know what? He's just like a little ray of sunshine. Every time I see him, I just feel like everything's good with life again. He's just such like a brilliant chap. And that was just in Sainsbury's.
He is such a ray of sunshine. That is such a...
And it's so funny to think that, like, once upon a time, I just used to think of him as the evil one.
You've like described him how I imagine like your nan would describe you. But it's just like...
Well, hopefully she would describe him like that as well.
Yeah. By the way, shout out, talking of your nan, shout out Pauline Tucker. Absolutely love Pauline. What a hilarious lady, and literally, she is a ray of sunshine.
Yeah.
She's I will never forget how much she loved our Negroni Cocktail song/video.
Oh yeah.
She was like, "It's amazing, you're like rock stars." I was like, well, you're the only one that thinks so, Paul, but I love you even more for it.
And I just love the fact that Bullwinkle told me that recently just went to watch Gladiator 2 with her. Cinema. There's no way even my grandmothers would go to the cinema.
We went to see Avatar 2 with her as well, and then I remember like she was just like happily watching the whole thing. But then when it got to the bit when do you remember when like I think like the big like rope or the big chain comes flying out and then it like falls down on them and then cuts them in half or something.
Right.
Like cuts one of the like sea creatures in half and it like gets severed and it goes flying through the air. And I just remember my nan was like in hysterics.
What a legend!
Like full brutality.
What a legend! What a thoroughly
Favorite actors: Tom Cruise and Vin Diesel. I believe.
Mate,
Oh, really?
it's Vin Diesel which makes it funny to me. Do you mean because like Tom Cruise has been around about a decade longer?
Yeah.
But it's the fact that Vin Diesel is essentially known for A, not being a very good actor, and just almost for being like a short, bold, like sort of lunkhead. But like that for some reason is your like favourite actor.
Yeah.
So short, bold lunkheads. That's her type.
He loves a bit of Pink Floyd and a bit of Guns N' Roses and Aerosmith.
Mate, what a decent woman your nan is. I always think that about both your mum and your nan, to be fair. I just think they're just like very decent, positive people, you know?
Yeah.
And when you're around them, you just feel like...
Ray of sunshine.
Yeah, like how you feel about Luke Palmer.
Yeah.
I feel about your mum and your nan.
Oh, that's good. That's brilliant.
I think you feel about Luke Palmer the way I feel about your mum and your nan. It's a weird turn of events.
Yeah, man.
Right, should we try and do this one then, guys?
Oh, shall we see it? I think I've forgotten it, but let's do it.
I think I've forgotten it as well, and I feel like my voice is going a little bit.
Oh, no.
It's fine.
Bust out those high notes. Right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Should we do that again? Sorry. Right.
That was just a sound check.
That was sound check, guys. Right.
1, 2, 3, 4.
When this began,
I had nothing to say, and I get lost in the nothingness inside of me.
I was confused.
Then I let it all out to find that I'm not the only person with these things in mind.
Inside of me.
But all the vacancy the words revealed is the only real thing that I got left to feel.
Nothing to lose.
Just stuck, hollow and alone, and the fault is my own, and the fault is my own.
I wanna heal, I wanna feel what I thought was never real. I wanna let go all the pain I felt so long.
Erase all the pain till it's gone.
I wanna heal, I wanna feel like I'm close to something real. I wanna find something I wanted all along. Somewhere I belong.
And I got nothing to say, I can't believe I didn't fall right down on my face.
I was confused.
Looking everywhere only to find that it's not the way I had imagined it all in my mind.
So what am I?
What do I have but negativity? Cause I can justify the way everyone is looking at me.
Nothing to lose.
Nothing to gain, hollow and alone, and the fault is my own, and the fault is my own.
I wanna heal, I wanna feel what I thought was never real. I wanna let go all the pain I felt so long.
Erase all the pain till it's gone.
I wanna heal, I wanna feel like I'm close to something real. I wanna find something I wanted all along. Somewhere I belong. I will never know myself until I do this on my own. And I will never feel anything else until my wounds are healed. I will never obey anything till I break away from me. And I will break away and find myself today. I wanna heal, I wanna feel what I thought was never real. I wanna let like I'm close to something real. I wanna find something I wanted all along. Somewhere I belong. I wanna heal. I wanna feel like I'm somewhere I belong. I wanna heal. I wanna feel like I'm somewhere I belong. Somewhere I belong. Woo! All right.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I don't think we messed that up too bad.
That was cool. I reckon that was the best take we did,
Yeah, man.
Yeah, definitely.
even from earlier.
Oh, I like how we instantly just went back into the
Pod
realm
mode.
of the
Yes.
normal.
We are
We're back.
Return
We're
to
back in
Earth.
pod mode now.
Drew,
Alright.
would you do me a really
Here you
big
go.
favour, man?
Yeah, man.
Just I'm being overindulgent.
Yeah, man.
Would you tune my guitar to standard?
Yeah.
Is that all right?
Hell yeah.
Because I'm gonna put
Oh,
Josh
you're gonna
on
give
the
us an
spot in a
encore?
minute. Yeah. Well, yeah.
A curtain
Oh,
call.
well, no. All of us can join in as just a laugh, and we'll treat this one as like a real silly one. But just because the chords are easy, and because I feel like it would almost be a shame not to do any Take That, even though it's not either mine or Josh's favourite one, we'll do Babe by Take That as well.
Oh, really?
But I'll
Christ,
just
I won't even remember that.
I'll just play the guitar because it's nice and easy, and you can get the lyrics up on your phone. You remember the thing, don't you? You remember the melody?
I can't believe you're doing this to me.
Mate, I'm gonna.
On the
Nathaniel
spot.
was loving this.
Bullwinkle can join in. Drew can join in. We'll all join in, baby. You know,
Right, okay.
we can sing it together. How about that?
Yeah, that sounds better to me, man.
Yeah.
And then
if you get
I'll
the-
fade myself out.
Because I was sneaky, and when I went for a wee, I printed out the chords.
You sneaky.
But I thought if I tell him, he might put up a fight. But
So
if
you
I
thought you'd do it on air?
if I do it on air,
He's got no choice.
he's got no choice, has he? You know, he's got no choice.
What if I say no? What if I just
He
say
just
no?
has to sit there and look really angry while I play it on my
I'm
own.
gonna stare at the camera.
Just
I'm gonna be like Liam Gallagher, like heckling Noel Gallagher when he fell out during a set.
I am
was
Noel
gonna-
and you're Liam.
Yeah, I was gonna stand on the balcony just like while you're going, I come to your door.
Are you and I get the impression you and Chief are very happy about the Oasis reunion.
I mean, we thought it was cool. We're not going or anything.
Oh right.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Oh really? Oh yeah. Do you know what? I've always wanted to see Oasis, but we didn't get a ticket.
I've never really been a fan. I don't really know why. I thought that you guys. Did you one of you like share it on social media or something?
I don't think so. Oh, maybe I did. I don't know. I might have. I did think it was quite cool when it was announced.
Yeah.
You didn't try
Oh
for
no,
tickets, did you?
I think Claire shared it and tagged me because we were both saying for ages like, oh, is this it? Is this going to be the one? Is this going to be the one?
That's probably why I
Yeah.
thought that you guys were like excited about
Yeah,
it.
we didn't try for anything. No.
No.
But yeah, I mean, if it was like not so hard to get, I'd probably be up for going. And if it wasn't so expensive,
Yeah, sure,
It's
sure.
pricey.
Is that
so
right, Drew?
pricey.
Thanks, man.
I
Sorry
think so.
to ask you that, man.
That's
It does,
right.
mate. It's just going to be a laugh. It doesn't have to be like really, really intense or anything. Before we get a little bit 90s, obviously one thing also that you're known for nowadays, Zeus, is your photography.
Yeah.
So obviously that sort of came out of nowhere as far as I was concerned, because obviously like when we were younger, I know this might sound like a funny thing to say. I don't know if it was or not. Obviously, as camera phones developed, you were never really overly like one to take photos, or it
No.
didn't really seem it.
Even now, really.
Yeah, but it seems like out of nowhere, you got very typical Zeus Wilder Gold fashion. You
It's
went
funny when it
balls
takes hold,
deep.
doesn't it? You see
And one
something,
thing-
you get into something, and it's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
bam.
One obviously phrase that I love, balls deep. For many a reason, I
Yeah.
love that phrase.
Yeah.
Both literal and not so literal.
And yeah.
As the term balls deep.
Balls
It's the
deep,
term
mate.
balls deep. And one thing I think I appreciate about you is like anything you get into, you do go fully balls deep. in
Balls
it.
deep.
Balls.
Balls
Bow,
deep.
you do go fully balls deep. in it.
It's like an obsession.
It is. It's an obsession.
Yeah.
When you've got all these things going around now of like ADHD and all that stuff,
I reckon
like,
I got it.
Meg just says to me, she goes, "Oh, you ADHD in it?" Like,
Yeah.
she just says it to me because I just get like so focused on one thing and then I just do the other thing. But it's like labels now and stuff.
I don't know
but
about you guys though, but it almost like annoys me a bit.
Yeah.
Do you know
Yeah, like you don't need to have like a.
No.
I feel like it's almost like trendy.
But that's what I
to have
mean.
a
It
label.
seems like it's just part of our personalities, but
Yeah.
people are like just like
Yeah,
labeling
yeah.
it now and
the way
stuff.
I
and
think
things.
it, the way I think about it is like we are all like a unique cocktail of things,
And as humans, we naturally like to put labels on things. It's a bit like even in the like in the 60s, it was like mods versus rockers. Which one are you?
Yeah,
you didn't really need to be either.
Yeah.
ADHD
Do you know what I mean?
versus autism.
Or it's like football fans. It's like you're either Spurs or you're whatever.
West Ham.
You're Man City or you're Man United. And it's like
Oasis or Blur.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like it's this weird thing where we like to put labels on things. But I'm like, yeah, we're all unique cocktails of things. If you like, and I think it's a bit one of those things, isn't it? It's a bit like what a lot of like skeptics say about horoscopes or anything like that. It's like you could say a character phrase, and that all four of us guys could go, yeah, we have that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But that doesn't necessarily mean. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? It doesn't necessarily mean that like it doesn't mean anything. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
For me, it just means I'm real into something.
Yeah.
I think if somebody like if it made someone feel better to like say myself or one of us had ADHD, I'd be like, okay, that's fine.
Cool.
But like I'm
Give
not.
me the badge.
But but I'm not gonna like brand myself it or be like or use that then as like a reason why I've done
like an excuse or
A, B,
something.
C in
Yeah.
life. Do you know what I mean? Because I think that in itself is like you're almost giving yourself maybe an excuse sometimes
Yeah.
with certain things. And yeah, I think that you could almost like hyper focus on it, and I think it could also make you feel a bit rubbish. Do you know what I mean? Like, say if you're like, oh, I've been diagnosed with manic depression and ADHD and that. Like, what does that accomplish for you?
Yeah.
Why don't you accomplish on doing
No,
some good,
I think
like,
some people
productive
like
things?
it though. Like they like to almost like fall back on it.
It's a
and be
bit
oh,
like-
it's just like an
Yeah, but
excuse.
again, that's a bad thing.
Yeah,
isn't it?
exactly.
That's a
No,
bad
I think
thing.
it's a bad thing for sure.
It's a bit like when you pass your driving test, and then some people get like the P plates.
Yes.
It's almost like you're exactly. It's almost like you're saying, right, this is my reason.
Yeah.
Like if I do anything
If I
wrong,
crash
this is
into you.
why. And
Yeah.
it's almost like a bad thing to have that, because it's almost like then you're going to be driving always thinking that you've
Yeah.
got an excuse if you do anything wrong.
With the
It's
Iron
almost
Man's
like
on.
it's almost like giving
Making
yourself
you
a
less
label.
careful.
Is giving yourself P plates, and you're saying like,
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
only just passed life.
Yeah, I think you see it, don't you? You see it like on social media and that. Some people are almost like obsessed with whatever label they've given themselves.
Yeah.
And they're like, what is it? Like the term spoonie? I don't even really understand what it means.
What's
but
that?
it's
I
like
don't know
that.
that.
spoonie, hashtag spoonie, spoonie life, hashtag.
Oh really?
You know, and it's like, I don't...
I like a spoon every
I,
now and again.
I don't know what
Yeah.
it means either, to be honest with you guys. But I've seen it, people do it. I've seen people do it. Say that there's...
And I don't like it.
I've seen spooning
Yeah,
videos.
but it's just a bit what we were saying. Like, it's a bit like... It's to me, it's almost like what good is that doing?
Yeah,
you?
what is it like?
Because
yeah.
we all are born with strengths and weaknesses, aren't we?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some of us are born rhythmic. Some of us are born with hands.
Seismic?
Seismic toss. And move that Machoke has on poker.
Whatever you
Seismic
do.
toss is amazing.
Seismic-
I'm going to go upstairs and
Is
have a
that
seismic
something-
toss.
Seismic toss. That's a word. That's a word right
God,
there.
that toss was seismic.
What are you going to do tonight? Seismic
I'm going to have a quick
toss.
seismic toss.
Seismic toss, mate. Yeah.
Toss isn't a toss if it's
You
not.
wouldn't want,
No.
you wouldn't want to watch Snorlax do a seismic toss.
You wouldn't, would you? No.
Yeah, no, that wouldn't be good. Yeah, I can't remember what I was saying now. It doesn't really matter.
Seismic toss.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Have we done it? Oh, we've done it.
What?
We've done the song. I almost like... thought we were-
No, you went into another
I was
world.
like ready to go for
How
it
many-
again then. 'cause I
How
saw
many
Calum
glasses
look
of red wine have you had, man?
Just two.
Whatever, man, whatever.
Just the two
Just
bottles.
two, mate.
Um,
Do you want some reverb?
we didn't even talk about why you got into photography. I don't know why we went off on a branch off. So, how did you get into photography initially? How did you end up going down that rabbit hole? And obviously, you seemed like at first you took a lot of nature photography. Now you seem to do more band stuff. Tell us about your sort of photography.
Basically,
journey
it was just from when I was at work, like because I'm always like
in beautiful places.
in beautiful places. I was like always taking photos on my phone. I started getting a bit obsessed with that, so I started like getting like these little tiny lenses you can like clip onto your phone
That's cool.
to give
I
it like
didn't know
different
such
angles.
a thing existed.
Really, yeah, you get like a phone case and then you like sort of screw these like external lenses on, like camera lenses almost. And then once I tasted that, I was like, right, I just want to get a camera now. And then as I bought the camera, lockdown happened, like the first lockdown. So then all there was to really do was to like go for like walks and just take photos of like walks. So that's what I was doing. And then I think that was pretty much it. I started like just taking photos of either like nature or like wildlifey stuff, or like a few portraity stuff, like the Pandora's box portraits and stuff. And then it was like once the band like stopped, I was like, I've got to do something to do with music still. Like that is still like my driving force. Like, just because I'm not playing music doesn't mean that's not the most important thing to me. So I was like, right, I'm going to do something that can get me into music, and it got me loads of like cool gigs and like
That's so cool.
and like and it did. It got me to like still. I felt like I was still in a band almost because I was like going around with bands and like touring and like
and
doing
right
loads
at
of
the
gigs,
front,
and
innit?
like right in the
Yeah.
front, like almost like you're on the stage, and like so it was almost like I got to combine like a new passion with the like with my like actual just main passion. So that was it really basically.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, man.
One thing I think's very impressive about you as well, man, is that whenever you get into something, not only do you get really just go into it, I said balls deep, like really pour your heart and soul into it, but there seems to me to be almost like something very like simple but effective about the way you do things. Like, and I don't really know what it is, but it's like, you got into photography. And you didn't just get into photography, you then used that as a way, as you said, of like going on tour with cool bands or like, benefiting you in some way, and with your art, and then it's like giving you like a small amount of extra revenue in your life. You've done cool stuff. You met Mastodon because of it.
Yeah.
I don't really know what that is, but it's almost like it's quite like a simple thing.
I think it's just like obsession. Like it's like once I'm obsessed with something, I'm like one track minded, no matter what. Even if it's like getting tickets for like a gig, like whereas like it might be a really hard gig to get tickets for, like because I've set my mind to it, I'm like, well, I'm not just gonna like try and get tickets. I'm gonna spend like ages like researching like the best time and like and I'm gonna like find pre-sales and so you're sort of almost doing like groundwork, and that's the same with like anything. Like with art, it's like you start like connecting, like networking, and you start like it's all I can think about. So it's like I might as well like not waste that. So,
yeah, sure, man.
And it's the same with music. When we were doing music and it was like the most passionate thing, that's when we were sort of like doing more and stuff, and like that's all I could think about. But and it's like the swing is though that like as easy as it is to like it feels like it almost feels effortless when I'm into it, but if I'm suddenly like if I've lost any passion in it at all, it's almost like really like hard to like push myself to do anything if I'm not fully like feeling it. But that's why like sometimes like the art will like slow down. And I'm like, right, I'm going to do photography then.
One thing has to have precedent, like balls
yeah,
deep
because I can't just be like, oh, well, I better do some photography, so I'm going to go and do that. It's like, no, I've got to do it or not do it at all.
Yeah.
And it's like, and that's why like I haven't played much music, because it's like, I love music, but like I've not got like a drive to push it, so I'm not going to like push that drive like until I'm sure, but I'm always like almost quietly confident it's gonna I'm always like quietly confident that the swing is gonna like one day make me want to play again.
Do you
know what I mean?
It's like it's in the bank.
Do you think part of the like reason for your motivation a lot of the time is that you have that choice to go into it? Like I know you said before, like probably. Sometimes when you do go really balls deep into one of these projects, and it becomes a revenue maker, or it becomes something that you've almost got a bit more responsibility for.
It suddenly feels less fun because you're like not in the driving seat. Someone else is, like a client or like or something like that. Or like if there's someone that's like, I don't like what you did, could you change that? It's almost like that's stopped being like an artistic.
Instantly stopped it being fun.
Yeah. Like, or even though I'll enjoy it, it doesn't feel as much like an expression. And it's to me, it's all about like expression.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what I'm doing, it's like about what's like, because I'm like a real big daydreamer. Like most of the time, it's just about like getting out what you're daydreaming.
Like the time, Drew, that I got really shirty with Dave Inglefield about our R&D tax credits jingle, and I just refused to take any constructive criticism from him, and I was like, no, this is great.
You're playing that.
Leave it. Do you remember that one, Josh?
The butcher, the baker, the yogurt maker.
Yeah, so I can definitely sympathise with that.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
But it's really good as well, like being able to like do like commercially do those different aspects of like just
monetize
because
monetize
it's so
anything
hard
you do.
to do that creatively and
monetize
like,
it.
It's so, I feel like a super block with stuff like that. Like it's really like, so I've been getting into like video and stuff, but like I just hate the idea. I've done like one music video and it was like such a ball ache for me with like the changes and how long like with someone else's input, and it's like really like hard. But like when it's more like a commercial project, like when we do like video stuff at work, I like find it's a lot easier for me to focus because there's like a deliverable thing that you need to get, and it's quite simple. It's like, right, if it meets this criteria, then you
and
need
also
to just,
it takes the stress off you, because then it's like if you're working in a team, different people have different strengths.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like Bullwinkle loves editing, you love filming, and I love directing.
Yeah, so it still feels creative, but it's like it's got that structure to it where it's like, oh, cool, like I can do that. But if it was like me solely on my own, like I'm like, no, when people have like said, do you don't do video stuff. I'm just like, no.
I feel like when the pendulum swing to me is like at its peak. So like if I'm like visualizing now these like pendulums, like art, music, and photography, like swinging. When like say like the photography one's at its like peak swing, like I'll do things then. That then once it's gone past the peak, that I'm like, I can't believe I even did that. Like, I can't believe I even said yes to that. But at the time, like I'll just be like a full yes man. And it's those peaks when you're a yes man that like that the things open, like avenues open up.
Yeah.
Like,
I think
you've got to be a yes man. As soon as you say no, like as soon as you say no, you start losing
your opportunity.
That was like with the band, like the moment we were like not fully feeling it, so we were saying no to gigs. It was almost like sand going through your hands. You start losing it instantly, and that's the same
you need
with, like,
to literally say yes to everything.
Yeah.
And it's like if you say
no to anything, it stops.
And then that's like, right, I can't do that in that. I can't pursue that because, like you say, as soon as you start saying no, it's like
you've already lost it.
Yeah. That's something that I really struggled with when I was younger, and I definitely think I've changed in the last sort of 5 years with stuff like that. Is that obviously in human nature, and it's really weird, isn't it? Because I said we're very complicated beings. So like in some ways, I could have like the most brutal freaking workout, and I'll embrace that like completely, and I'll just want more, and I want it to be more brutal. But then at the same time, it's almost like you naturally want in some situations to do whatever is easiest. So if somebody asked me if I'd be like, do I want to do this or that or something, then often I'd be like, the easiest thing in this instance is for me to say no, so that's probably what I'm going to say. But like, I think it's like important, something like I think switched in maybe my mindset of it's like, no, it's really important to just say yes, even if it's hard, if it's going to be a bit of a ball ache, you could be open yourself to error, whether it's just like, whether it's like a couple of like charity gigs we've played, like playing at Darcy's wedding, do you know what I mean? It's just like, it's easy just to say no.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But it's so much better to say yes.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, even though it's like, as I said, okay, now you're going to have to practice for a long time. You're going to have to like drive to the venue. You're going to have to then, in front of a load of people, like at a wedding, the last thing you want to do, like if you're playing a wedding, because like to the bride, especially to the bride room, that's like that's the most important day of their life or whatever. And it's like, if you mess up, you've almost like ruined that one time they're walking down the aisle. And that's like so much pressure, man. But it's just like, at the same time though, how worth it was it? Like Darcy was so appreciative and she's such a nice person. And we just freaking practiced.
Yeah, you
and
don't think
it,
about
and it was
like,
awesome.
Yeah,
and also just the ability, like say, like in that instance, in that specific case, we played in Wookey Holes, which is like the most complicated, the biggest caving system in the UK, which is like epic as hell. Which is like
5 second delay.
They
5 second natural delay.
They've shot movies in there. They shot like Doctor Who and loads of other cool stuff in there before, and. Yeah, it was like an honour just playing.
Yeah, that's well.
Like, when usually would you just get the opportunity just to randomly just in a room full of like 100 people just play in Wookey Hole? Like, it was insane,
I think it's the subconscious thing as well, isn't it? That once you've made that excuse and you've decided subconsciously that excuse is good enough to say no to something, that excuse is always then going to be good enough to you because on some level you've made that agreement in your brain that you can just say no for whatever reason it may be. But I feel like if you go into something with the mindset of I can't say no, then that's when you really do start to build momentum and
one of my dad's like really hilarious catchphrases. Have you heard him go on this one? He says, "The answer is yes. What's the question?" He loves that one. Which I always think is so it sounds like so comical because it's like something like Ricky Gervais.
Yeah, I was going to say David Brent. Yeah, that's brilliant.
My old man is so David Brent, isn't he?
I can almost imagine him saying it and I mean.
My old man probably would be like that as well. He is like the closest thing to David Brent in actually the real world.
That's amazing.
And it's good, like the pressure that it puts on yourself when you do say yes in those situations is good pressure.
Yeah,
because it makes you perform.
It's the comfort
it makes you
zone.
sharpen your
because you're like, I don't want to like deliver something that they're going to be like, oh, this is shit. Oh, sorry, this is rubbish. Like it's
erase that.
We got to have a lot of edits on this podcast. Sorry about that. But
explicit episode.
That's the thing with it, though, isn't it? Like you know that it's you're gonna push yourself to deliver something that's not gonna like embarrass you. So like,
and also
it's
extra
not effort in, and that's good effort.
Yeah.
Even,
and then once you've done it, as long as you've put the work in, then it's like another feather for your cap, isn't it? It's like what you were saying about doing the artwork for Friar Tuck's. Like we all love Friar Tuck's. Every time we go in there, see that, it's like, oh, Josh did that. And every time you go in there, you're like, I did that.
It's quite a scary thing.
And you can
like,
say,
I
and you
can't
can just say
imagine
that.
it. Like when I know you like say yes to those things, I'm like, oh man.
I know, I'm scared as well.
Yeah, it's like, but it's almost like that thing what you said when you look back at some of the things you've done when you've been real in the zone, you're like, I can't believe I even did that.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
almost like if you go so far into that zone, you can trust that
Yeah.
whatever that is that's coming through is gonna be a part of it.
Can you
as
believe
well,
that
you know?
us, like on our own accord, used to like sort out some gig in Truro, and then like pack all the stuff into like a car and like organise to drive down on a school night, work night obviously, and then go and like network with all these people that we'd never met, and then play a gig to them in front of them, and then like drive back and go to work the next morning.
Yeah.
Like now that's such a weird
and
thought.
and usually for nothing.
Yeah, just for nothing. Yeah, we just go there just for like the passion of it, and
Yeah.
it's crazy, isn't it?
That is crazy. Yeah, I can't believe you guys did it, I think, at that stage as well, because obviously we were so young.
Yeah.
I think that was like to be fair, I think mainly probably you to thank, but obviously all of you guys. But just a bit earlier on, what you were saying about, you very much being in control of that and stuff, and being almost like the ringleader with all that stuff, because that takes a level of like refinement, I think, that I personally didn't have when we were that age.
Yeah, and that's one of those things when I look back now and I think like how
I was almost like it's really funny. It's almost like if you love rock and roll and metal, I wanted to skip right to the party bit, without actually doing any of the work beforehand to earn the party bit. Do you know what I mean?
brilliant.
Do you know what I mean? Just like, but yeah, just like teenager, just like let's get wasted and just like
I bet when you look back
good.
on a lot of the different gigs you went to, even if at the time it seemed like it was really out of the way, or you didn't want to do it, or you could have said no, even looking back on it now, though, you're probably really glad that you did say yes.
Yeah,
the thing
definitely.
is, right, you never remember like how much you had in your account,
No.
like any of those things that at the time would be like all
worry.
that mattered, and
Yeah.
the worry and stuff. But you just remember like, I played
awesomeness.
this like memory of
Yeah.
like a certain gig in a bar somewhere, or just
Yeah.
like they're the things you remember.
You never
It's
go
the
like, oh, I'm so
experience
glad I
of
went
it.
to bed early that night to get up
Yeah,
for work.
exactly.
that day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As I said, it's like all of it is like a little feather in the cap, isn't it?
Yeah.
Everything is like a little feather in the cap, and then it's like at the end of your life, how many feathers do you have in your cap?
Oh, very profound. I like that.
You want to get as many as possible, don't you?
Yeah, definitely, man.
Do
You want to be
Yeah.
like one of those like Native Americans with a headdress.
Dreamcatcher.
Yeah, I mean, in a very
Dancing with all
in
your
a very
feathers.
in a very literal
Or
sense.
bird.
In a very literal sense, yeah. Or
Oh
like,
yeah, just a bird.
but it's like, you know how cool it is when you read about certain people, like Christopher Lee's always one, and you hear about how like in the Second World War he was like a real life James Bond.
Yeah.
Like he was literally like, and he was friends with Ian Fleming in
Yeah.
real life, and apparently he was one of two people that Ian Fleming based James Bond on.
Yeah.
And he literally was like so fluent in German and Italian, he would like go behind enemy lines. He was so fluent in German, he could convince Germans that he was German, and he would seduce like high level ranking Nazis like wives to bed, and then get information out of them and stuff, and all of this mental stuff. But then he was also like I'm pretty sure he was also like a classical singer for a while. He was also like randomly the son of a lady who was like wasn't she like princess of, she was like she was like the last in the line of like the Italian monarchy, and then became like Dracula, Count Dooku,
It's an interesting
Saruman,
life, really,
and then
Yeah, definitely.
towards the end of his life, then
Started
randomly
a
just
metal
started a metal
Yeah.
band. That's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
like,
so cool,
and you, but he's like, I mean, there's other accolades he's had that I've completely forgotten. But it's like if you read his life story, you're like, how did he cram that
If
much?
there's
into
ever a
one
yes
life?
man,
Yeah,
it was
Christopher
Saruman.
Lee.
Yeah.
Christopher Lee, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
what a legend. And whenever I read about people like that, I always find it very inspiring.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm
man.
pretty sure. Do you remember we did a pod a while back, guys, and then we were talking about like the demon of such and such. It was like some place in India, and it was like that man-eating tiger that had like, killed like hundreds of people. And the guy that got brought in to deal with it, he was like this notorious. Well, he was like this legendary hunter, and he was English. And then I remember I was like reading about him, and it was like so much random stuff. It was like he was a fencing world champion, and then he randomly got into hunting and became like the best hunter in the world. But then on the side from that, he also was like a
baker.
He was a part-time fireman. And I was like reading all this stuff, and I was like, mate, that's what like guys like that make you realise like I need to get off my ass, man.
Yeah,
I need to get my
there's a lot to do out
Yeah.
there.
I mean, the Netflix series, as much as we love them, they can wait.
Yeah.
Like, or at least just do it
Just one episode.
Yeah, just one episode. Yeah, or maybe just cut down
but
a couple
it's
of the
so
days
good
of the week where you do it. You know?
Yeah.
Because it's like that's the low-hanging fruit. But when you read about these amazing people that have done stuff like that, you're like, that's what life's
inspiring,
about.
man.
That's
Yeah.
what life's about. You don't want to be one of those people that's like, what did you do at the weekend? Just go down local pub,
Oh, right.
That full stop.
I feel like
Yeah.
when you live like that, not like that, but when you live like the Tiger guy,
Tiger
that's
man.
when you sort of give yourself no excuses to have any regrets in your life, do you?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure, man. On that note, should we sing Babe?
Speaking of rock and roll.
So we're going to try and do Babe by Take That, everyone. Do you guys remember... Do you guys remember the song? Do you guys know the song at all? Would you know it well enough that when I go, Babe, babe, I'm here again.
I'm here again.
Yeah, you got to say, when I say babe, you got to go, babe. And when I say, I'm here again, you got to go, I'm here again. And then when I say, I'm back again, you got to go,
It's
I'm
here again.
back again.
Mate, I don't know how this is going to go, but let's try it.
This isn't going to be as fancy because I'm just going to go straight into the verse.
Okay.
All right. Josh brought a bit of a level of flair to the songs today that previously have not been reached. Right. With his fancy syncopatic drumming or whatever, syncopated drumming sequences. Ready, guys?
Ready.
Nope.
Have you got the lyrics up?
Nope. Yep.
Yes, you have. Ready? So we're going to sing it together?
Oh, wait, yeah.
And then,
wait, yeah.
and then these guys are backing singers,
Okay,
all right?
Cool, that works for me.
I'll tell you what, Bullwinkle's gotten into his backing vocals recently.
Man, I'm loving doing a bit of singing.
Oh, well,
He's been doing good.
Yeah, man.
On the,
So look, you've actually got your backing vocals in brackets here.
Man, I'm so ready.
have you heard any of the new Forest of Glee since it's been back?
I haven't yet, and I'm really annoyed with myself
Oh,
because
no,
I'm really looking forward to it.
There's a new sweeper that me and Bullwinkle made, and he does one of the vocal layers. So there's like a 4 or 5 different vocal layers in it, and Bullwinkle's one of them.
That's
That's
right.
good, that's awesome.
That's right.
You also did another one in something else we did recently. What was
Yes, I do not remember. There was something I was singing.
that? Was it an advert?
I think so, yeah.
I think it was an advert.
Yeah.
I can't remember which one it was, because me and Drew did that pretty hilarious advert, but I think me and Bullwinkle did one as well.
New album coming soon. New single coming soon.
Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Heard it here first.
Bullwinkle. The baby-faced assassin. That's the name of the album.
This song's about you.
It's Babe.
Babe Winkle.
Forever 12.
Yeah. Oh, that's so 90s.
That's your first single. First single, Forever 12. Ready, guys? 1, 2, 3, 4. I come to your door to see you again. But where you once stood was an old man instead. I asked where you'd been. He said she's moved on, you see. All I have is a number. You better ask her, not me. So I picked up the phone and I dialed your number. Not sure to put it down or speak. Then a voice once answered in a sweet voice. She said, hello, then paused before I began to speak. Babe, I'm here again. I'm here again. I tell you, I'm here again. Babe, where have you been?
Where have you been?
Where have you been? Babe, I'm back again.
I'm back again.
I tell you, I'm back again. Babe, where have you been? You held your voice well. There were tears I could tell. But where were you now? Was you gonna tell me in time? Just give me a town and I'll be straight down. I've got so much to tell you about where I have been. As I walk down your road, can't wait to be near you. I can't keep this feeling inside. I can't keep it inside. As I stand at your door, you answer in a sweet voice. You say, hello, then pause before I began to speak. Babe, babe, I'm here again. I'm here again. I tell you, I'm here again. Babe, where have you been? Where have you been? I'm back again. I tell you, I'm back again. Babe, where have you been? Well, as I looked away, I saw a face behind you. A little boy stood at your door.
can't remember that.
And then I looked again, I saw his face was shining. He had my eyes, he had my smile. Babe, I'm back again. Here again. Tell you I'm back again. Babe, I'm here for you. Babe, please take me back. Please back again. Take me back home again. Babe, please hold me close. Please hold me close. Like you used to do. Babe, just me and you. Just me and you. You and me. You and me. Me and you.
That was beautiful. To that end bit, I just didn't know what happened there.
Yeah, I'm surprised you don't remember that bit on the bridge. You know, it's like a little boy stood at your door. And when I looked again, I saw his face was shining. He had my eyes. He had my smile.
Yeah, something like that, wasn't it?
I have to say though, the backing vocals on the chorus were awful, guys. That's all right. Obviously, you just didn't know the song well enough. Do you know what I mean, though, Josh? I was like expecting, like, babe, I'm here again. But they
Like
just
pure love.
They didn't know the melody enough.
I know, man. Yeah.
It was like, babe.
I love it when it just goes back to normal and it's just like,
It makes you feel like you're like suddenly sucked into reality. Doesn't it?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's really hilarious. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, no, it's really hilarious. Yeah. Right.
nice to live in a
Anything
cave.
else you guys want to talk about?
Don't know really.
Huh?
I think that.
I feel like we've had a nice little glimpse into the mind of Joshua Mark Ayerst.
Yes.
I'm
As
sure
a
you guys have got
performer.
like so many more stories and stuff. We'll have to do a part
Yeah, we'll do
two
it for
somewhere
another
down the
part.
line.
Omelette du fromage. Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's like, you know, you don't want to blow your load all in one go. do
Yeah,
you?
that's it.
You know, you want to save some for another day.
Yeah.
I'm glad. I thought it was going to be. It feels a bit strange, like coming onto a show to talk about yourself. I felt a bit like, oh wow, big head. But at least it feels like on this, like we're just having like a chat.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, man.
It's all about the chat.
It is just having a chat, and that's what I say. Try
Having
and
the
say
old
to like
chinwag.
all of the people that come on, because it's like even if they're like really big, like you know, really successful people, I think
Big,
that
kind of a big deal.
there's an element of it. It's a bit weird,
Yeah.
especially if you don't know the person.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like it is with most of the people I have on. So I was just like, let's just have a chat.
shooting
Let's
the breeze.
just have a chat,
Chat and jam.
shooting the
Chat and
breeze,
jam,
having a chat.
Destroy Babe.
And that's the bottom line, cause Stone Cold said so. For some reason. Yeah, but that was really fun doing the tracks.
Yeah.
And it was
That's
cool
cool.
to, as I said as well, because usually when we chat, we're obviously just more just like having a laugh.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's really funny that like some of the things I've asked you today, I would never just ask you for some reason when we're
No.
just hanging around as normal. But at the same time, are really interesting for me to hear.
Yeah, man. Definitely.
Sure.
It's quite interesting to talk about it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
As well as relive some of the things like, you know, like when we used to push each other in trolleys
Yeah.
or, you know, various accidents that happened.
Damage
over
our
the years.
sinuses.
Yeah, yeah. With Drew's sinuses.
Yeah.
Obviously. But yeah, we should definitely get on some jousting, some human jousting.
Yeah.
Maybe film some and then we can upload it to Pandora's Box YouTube channel.
Yeah.
I would love that. I would love that.
Next track we got to do as well is like a barbershop.
Yeah.
Quartet.
Yeah.
Proper harmonies.
With some harmonies.
I think another crack in my heart is.
Oh, mate, it's
We
got to be
need
done.
that one, don't we?
Oh, just, mate, I've got a little keyboard if you want to learn the piano bit.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
little mini one.
Yeah, you know that little mini one? I've
Yeah.
got? Yeah,
That'd be
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah,
Make
yeah.
it like proper jazzy.
Yeah. That song is so fun to sing along to as well.
It is,
isn't it?
isn't it?
It's
Yeah.
like so the best take that song to sing along to another
Yeah.
crack of my heart. Anybody that knows what we're on about, or if you don't know what we're on about,
Go check it out.
after this pod we're going to wrap it up soon. Go put on another crack of my heart off Everything Changes album, mate. It's a masterpiece.
Yeah.
As I said earlier, I listened to it in the bath last night.
Yeah.
I was singing my heart out.
Yeah.
And then Em came in and she was like, I'm a little bit worried about the fact that you're just in the bath
Singing
singing
Take
Take
That to
That like
yourself.
really, really loudly. And I was like, I'm loving it. I'm sorry. I'm loving
yeah.
it. You know?
I sang it today while I was chipping.
Did you?
Yeah.
I don't blame yourself, man. It's like Shrek says in Shrek, you know, augurs have layers.
Yeah.
There's the surface layer, you know, where people that sort of know us by name but don't know us that well
Yeah.
might see us as. So it's like the most obvious aspects of your personality, isn't there?
but peel back those layers.
You start getting more oniony stuff.
More oniony.
Yeah.
You might take that somewhere down the line.
Your eyes might sting.
Your eyes might sting. Yeah, for various reasons. Yeah. And that's just the way the cookie crumbles, baby. Yeah. Thanks everyone to listen to Pandora's Box today. Thanks, Zeus, for coming in.
Cheers for having me.
I hope you're not too hangry.
I'm getting there, but yeah.
Yeah, I've got some spag bog I'm going to eat in a minute.
Nice. I'm going to have a cheeseburger. I'm just going to do it.
Just do it, mate.
I don't care what they say.
Do you know what my go-to is? Just to wrap up the pod?
I reckon it's something chickeny.
Well, it depends how ham I'm going.
Oh, okay.
Right, so I don't go to McDonald's very often.
Right.
If I do, I don't like to do things in small measures.
No.
Right, so if I do, it's a bit like when I drink. I don't drink very much nowadays, but if I do, I still want to go pretty
you want to send
crazy.
it.
Yeah, I want to send it. I want to show people, who can pack it away. So I'm a bit like that.
Who does number 2
who the
work
fudge
for?
packer is around here.
Hey, who's the fudge packer?
Hey, who's the fudge packer around here? Guys?
Does number 2 work for? That's right, buddy. You show that turd who's boss.
That's it, man. That's it. So yeah, one of my favourites is large Big Mac meal.
Yeah.
Buy 2 double cheeseburgers.
Right.
Take the meat out of the double cheeseburgers.
Add it to the Big Mac.
Add it to the Big Mac.
That's full ham.
Right. If I'm feeling really hungry, I'll order 24 nugs on the side.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
24.
Damn.
I've smashed that several times.
Have you? On top of that Mega Mac.
Yeah.
Sweet.
I like a big tasty.
Yeah, I do like a big tasty,
like a
but
big tasty
if I
every now and again.
do too
But
many
that
big
sauce.
tasties in a short amount of time, I start getting a bit
Weird sauce.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that makes no sense. I get a bit. You turn into a squirrel.
It's because of the sauce, man.
Yeah,
the big tasty is like it's a nice sauce, but you have too much of it. It's a bit like
it's a bit weird.
It's a bit tart.
You do it as well.
It's a bit tart.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Oh, fair enough. Do you know what? I've never had one.
Yeah,
It's
you would
big
know.
and
You would
tasty.
know. You'd be coming out going.
You're all right though about the chicken thing. You are when we were kids and we'd ever go to McDonald's.
You'd
which
always
we
be
did, which
chicken.
we did a lot. I'd get a McChicken sandwich meal.
Yeah, that's it. I thought you were
Hell
a
yeah,
McChicken
with that
sandwich.
real
man.
nice mayonnaise.
Yeah.
I remember.
It's not the same as the mayonnaise if you get it in a packet.
Mate, a McChicken sandwich meal was so nice.
Yeah.
Like, McChicken sandwich.
They got the
is so
secret
good.
sauce. In that.
Oh, so good, man. I always just to end off on a real funny note. I always remember this time when we were really little, and we were going through the McDonald's drive-through, and your dad was in the car. And I remember he asked us what we wanted, and we told him. And I think yours. We just both had really simple orders. Obviously, I can't remember what yours was. What would you reckon you would have ordered at that age? Like
Probably like a cheeseburger and chips and a Coke.
Right, there you go. And I was just like, McChicken sandwich meal, please, with probably a chocolate milkshake. And I remember he just looked at us both and went, right, if it gets too complicated, I'm just going to order you 2 Happy Meals. I always remember it because even at the age of 6 or 7 or whatever I was, I remember thinking, how can you not remember that? And B, I was really concerned that I wasn't going to get
Oh,
a
yeah, I
chicken
bet,
sandwich.
man. Yeah.
But I remember
My dad's still like that now.
it's really quite. I remember just I think we might have been in his work van or something, but he was just looked at us both and he asked us what we wanted, and we said, and I was just like, right, well, if I can't remember, it gets too complicated, I'm just going to order you 2 Happy Meals. And I'd be like, I need to eat. I want my McChicken sandwich.
Did you get your McChicken sandwich?
I think so.
Did you? Oh, that's good.
I think that the pressure didn't get to him.
Oh,
He managed to deliver the order before he forgot. Yeah.
I want chicken. I want liver. Meow mix, please deliver.
Right, guys, we'll see you next time. If you listen to Pandora's Box. Thanks, Zeus. You'll have to come on again, man. That
Cheers.
was beautiful. What track should we do next time? Another Crack in My Heart?
Another Crack in My Heart.
Maybe an Alice in Chains one? For the
If you
vocal
want to,
harmonies?
Yeah.
What song do you reckon you'd like to do? At Alice in Chains?
How about I'm on the spot now. I've got red light syndrome.
Red Light Syndrome, mate.
Camera's
You can't
on
think of a single Alice in Chains song. You can't think of one.
I'm just going to say Man in the Box because it's Pandora's Box.
Okay, we'll do that. That'd be a really
you
weird
were the
acoustic
man in
version.
the box.
Wouldn't it?
Imagine
Yeah.
that all
You were the
swagger.
man in the box.
Bang, 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 bang.
Yeah, cool.
Cool. Catch you later, guys.